and the Bolshevik Revolution. The stuff that happened in the street also happened politically, and we're not talking enough about political warfare. The Vanguard Party is a revolutionary party, and these people that are working within that party, within the Uniparty, are knowingly and unknowingly pushing a new world order agenda, and they must be stopped. The argument is no longer Republicans versus Democrats. That right there will get you confused, and it will slow us down and create lag time to which we will not recover. It is time to shift our focus on the Uniparty. Those that are not fighting for America, those who do not represent Americans, should not be our elected officials. Give yourself a round.
Welcome to the next generation of warfare, psychological warfare. In modern conflict, the mind is a potent weapon. Discover General Michael T. Flynn's groundbreaking guide, The Citizen's Guide to Fifth Generation Warfare. Unlock tactics, strategies, and the mindset to navigate this cognitive battlefield that we all find ourselves in. Equip yourself against manipulation and emerge unscathed. Unleash your potential. Order now.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the AlphaWarrior Show. It is Tuesday night, not Monday, but yesterday was a holiday, so we're doing just Alpha on a Tuesday, and I hope you guys are all okay with that. And for some of you, you've been with me for the last 90 minutes because we just came off of DEFCON 0 over there on Badlands. So for all the Badlandia family that's with us here on Just Alpha, thank you for joining. If you guys could do me a solid, smash the thumb, hit the heart, leave a comment, and share this wherever you're watching and help me to continue to grow this show. Some of the stuff we're going to be talking about tonight, for those of you that are new to Just Alpha, we'll start off the first part of this show, kind of going over some of the general news, some highlights that things went on, and then we'll get into the themes of tonight. And some of those main themes tonight, RFK Jr. declares war on chemtrails, and he does something that was pretty symbolic. Some people caught it, some people didn't. We're going to talk about the Charlie Kirk crime scene. It'll be quick on that one, but it'll be very important. We're also going to talk about Candace Owens and her new BFF, Hunter Biden, activation code Ronald McDonald, and a couple of other things. The titles only got 100 characters, so I try to fit as much as I can in there, but we're going to be talking about a lot. But before we do that, let's get into two of tonight's sponsors, and then it's showtime. And of course, you guys know this one because I show them all the time. If I can get it to work, here we go.
Science proves that a healthy immune system is the body's first defense against the smallest of ailments to the most catastrophic. Coriolus versicolor is the most sought-after, all-natural supplement for both humans and pets to help boost the immune system. There are over 400 studies worldwide on its effectiveness in humans, including Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, MD Anderson Cancer Center, and now from the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine. Together, we can help reverse this terrible tide now plaguing your loved ones and give them the immune-boosting supplements that they need.
I saw somebody in the chat said, Illinois Danny says, okay, Apple's got his Smarty Pants glasses on. He's bringing the news. These are not my Smarty Pants glasses. These are the blue light blocker ones. These are the cheapies, I would consider them, and they work pretty well. So I actually should probably invest in a good pair. So with that, folks, let's do our last ad, at least for this first part of the show. And you'll see a QR code populate on the Rumble screen if you're watching Rumble. And of course, that is the Rumble wallet, because they're the ones that gave us a voice when everybody else deplatformed us. So we hear a lot about crypto, but here's the part most people miss. Crypto was created so that you could actually own and control your own money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you're in control. And if you've ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you felt the problem. Now, fast forward to today. Everyone's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels a little bit complicated. That's exactly why I use Rumble Wallet. It takes all the complexity and makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin, dollar-backed stable coins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. No complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay, so you can just use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be up and running in a few minutes. Once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators like me directly. So do this right now. Scan the QR code or click the link that's in the description and download the Rumble wallet. From there, you can set up your own wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game. In just a few minutes, you can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some. And folks, I know that a lot of you are like, I'm curious, I want to try this. I don't know, I'm not that digital person. I get it. Once you try it and you go through the steps, you're like, hey, this was pretty simple. And then you go and you buy your first crypto, whatever that may be. And then you're in the game and you're running. So where are we going to start? Let's bring this on the stage. Let's put me in position. And let's start here with the general news. Shout out to my boy Jay. You guys saw him on People a few weeks ago. Phenomenal cop. He was one of the cops during 9/11 NYPD. And he went on, and guy just had an amazing career. But he puts out this post. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see some of this stuff. There you go. And he says, just going to leave this here. And it's a bunch of accounts. Some of them you might recognize, some maybe you don't. But essentially, this is the message. MAGA is dead. America first is here. It's happening. MAGA is dead. MAGA is dead. MAGA is dead. You got another one, Anonymous. MAGA is dead. Brendan, MAGA is dead. The Patriot Blonde, she definitely used Trump and MAGA, right? MAGA is dead. You got former Trump supporter. MAGA is dead. It's over. You got Fuentes. MAGA is dead. Darth Powell. MAGA movement is dead. Now, again, we've talked about this, but there was something in here. I don't know if Jay caught it, and that's why he put it. If he did, good eyes on him. But it's something that I'm starting to see. You guys know me. I'm always, let's find these patterns, let's identify them, and let's get them in front of my audience. And it's this one right here. And it's from the first one, Neon White Cat. MAGA is dead. America first is here. And what you're going to see is they were not successful. And let me shrink this a little bit just to get ready for the next couple ones that we're going to be showing throughout tonight's show. And I'm going to listen, folks, we're going to shoot. All right. No promises. We're shooting for 2 hours tonight. All right. We're going to rapid fire fly through this. The goal is 2. Y'all know that probably means 3, but the goal is 2. So we're putting that out there, and I'm going to try to not ramble and stick to this. So be with me. Okay. Support me on this. I need the encouragement. But here's the point. MAGA is dead, America First is here. And what I started to see in some of these groups and some of these virtual town halls known as X Spaces is people are trying to make these out to be two different identities. People are now trying to separate America First from MAGA. I've even seen this in some of the more popular alt media, and I've even seen this on some of the mainstream media. What does that tell me? That this is a formal operation, that there is a propaganda agenda to make people pick either MAGA or America First. Why? Because them trying to attack MAGA, them trying to attack Trump wasn't working. So now what they're trying to do is they're trying to say, well, the true America First mentality is the America First group. When all of us know America First is incorporated within MAGA. So when you see this, fight back against it, say something against it. Don't let them push that narrative. Also, throughout the night, I'll try to get to these Rumble rants and super chats. If we're in the flow, we'll do it at the end of the show. I'm not going to miss them, I promise. So let's fly into the next one because we're on a mission to get this done today. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says lock and loaded. And what's he talking about? He's talking about this right here. Take a listen.
The president has told us to aggressively negotiate with the Iranians. Why did I go to Islamabad, Pakistan? Why did I spend, I think, probably 22 hours on a plane going there, 24 hours coming back, and then 21 hours on the ground negotiating with the Iranians? Is because we wanted to show a sign of good faith. The vice president of the United States is willing to cut a deal so long as the Iranians are willing to meet us again on that core issue of never having a nuclear weapon. We think that we've made a lot of progress. We think the Iranians want to make a deal. The president of the United States has asked us to negotiate in good faith, and that's exactly what we've done. So we're in a pretty good spot here, but there's an option B. And the option B is that we could restart the military campaign to continue to prosecute the case, to continue to try to achieve America's objectives. And we could talk a little bit about what that looks like, but that's not what the president wants, and I don't think it's what the Iranians want either. We have an opportunity here, I think, to reset the relationship that has existed between Iran and the United States for 47 years. That's what the president has asked us to do, and that's what we're going to keep on working at. But it takes two to tango. We are not going to have a deal that allows the Iranians to have a nuclear weapon. So as the president just told me, we're locked and loaded. We don't want to go down that pathway, but the president is willing and able to go down that pathway if we have to.
No need to supplement that anymore. He's very clear. Trump's position's very clear. And so a lot of people have tried to weaponize Vance against Trump, Trump against Vance. It's not working. And obviously you can get his take here. Trump has a mission for America. Iran's not going to have a nuclear weapon. Translation, the globalist deep state cabal is not going to use Iran by proxy to maintain this fear of an all-out nuclear war. It ain't going to happen. That's what they're going to put it into. Let's get into the next one. Gunther Engelman puts out, boom, Senate Democrats are having a full-on meltdown and raging at Attorney General Todd Blanche after he confirmed massive evidence of the 2020 election fraud has been obtained. The real investigation is now underway in Georgia and Arizona. Why does this matter? If you're watching DEF CON with us a little while ago, we spent a lot of time talking about this choke point. If you've watched Just Alpha before, you know I've been setting us up for this conversation of what's coming here in the next few weeks, this choke point. This conversation about the fraud of 2020 is going to precede the SAVE Act. So just understand, we're going to get the information that 2020 is absolutely was stolen, was hijacked. There was foreign interference. There was domestic interference. There was government corruption. Everything that we know is going to get there. Right after that is there, and the Court of Public Opinion supports that, is what's going to set up the Save America Act. That's when it's going to fail because of Thune and the people that he has in his, we'll call it a criminal enterprise. That's my opinion, right? The criminal enterprise that he's operating with, they're going to sabotage the Save America Act. Everybody's going to be like, we just got the evidence of the 2020 election. We need this. You guys aren't passing it. This is what's going to give Trump the foundation for the biggest move he's ever going to make in either of his presidencies. So when you listen to this clip, think about everything that I just mapped out for you there, and this will make a little bit more sense.
The Attorney General is supposed to be the people's lawyer and defend the rule of law and not act as the president's personal lawyer. But in this administration, the Department of Justice is solely focused on pleasing one man, no matter the cost. Lest anyone forget, huge banners with Donald Trump's face hang from both sides of the main Justice building. This is the big banner of Donald Trump on one side of it. so that every single person who enters that building will see it and remember exactly what that man wants them to do. You're his former personal attorney, and you know exactly what he wants. In fact, he often posts it right here on social media, his Truth Social account. He wants to weaponize the department for his own political ends. And right from the start, you and your cohorts have worked to deliver what he wants, doing his political dirty work. 2 days ago, you even suggested that there was, quote, a ton of evidence that the 2020 election was rigged against Trump. And here you are at a budget hearing asking for taxpayer funds to pursue the department's mission when you're using those funds to punish Trump's adversaries, reward his friends, and pursue his personal vendettas.
They're pissed, folks. They're pissed because there's nothing that they can do that can stop what is coming. You like what I did there? Yeah, I thought so too. I'm tired, but we're going to fire through this. So let's keep pushing on. We get into this one. And remember, choke point. For those of you that have done the military or law enforcement, the fatal funnel. That's what we're approaching for the deep state. They're getting forced into that fatal funnel, that choke point. FBI Director Kash Patel, this is from May the 20th, so 6 days ago, 7 days ago, depending where you're at in the country. This afternoon, a former managing assistant U.S. attorney who supported Jack Smith's politicized investigation of President Trump has been charged with stealing the confidential investigation documents. Carmen Lineberger allegedly emailed the confidential material to her own personal email, disguising them as dessert recipes to conceal them from record searches. Lineberger is charged with 4 felony counts in the indictment. The FBI will not hesitate to bring to account those who violated the trust of the American public in an investigation that should have never been bought to begin with. Now, the question to ask here is, did somebody tip them off to where they knew how to go back and find out what she was doing with her emails? Or were they always being monitored even during the Biden administration? Military is the only way, military intelligence, white hat operation, however you want to look at it. Did they get caught in the act because they were being observed? Was it Space Force? There's a lot of room for speculation. The point being is that they know. This is low-hanging fruit, folks. She got this information. She tried to conceal it. And the purpose is, or the things that we need to pay attention to is who gave her the request to do it and who was she sending it off to. This woman is going to speak. She's going to drop names. She's going to rat. Again, this is all forming criminal enterprise. Rico, Rico, Rico. Let's keep firing through. Next on deck, Attorney General Ken Paxton. This is from the 19th, so about a week ago. I'm incredibly honored to have President Trump's complete and total endorsement. No one has ever fought harder for the American people than President Trump, and I look forward to championing his America First agenda in the Senate. Alpha, you already told us that Ken Paxton won tonight. I did, but I want to paint a real quick story on this. Let's go back to when Trump did this endorsement, May 19th. Why was that important? Because we came to the conclusion of the Thomas Massie race in the House. Why is that important? Because there was a lot of races, 37 of them, as a matter of fact. Trump went 37-0 with his endorsements. Why is that important? It's important because Thune and Cornyn are homies, all right? They're BFFs. And if Trump would have endorsed Paxton before these races all came to the conclusion that they did, Thune would have weaponized the Senate the way he's going to do now, the way he has been doing in the last few days. He would have started it then. And maybe the 37-0 would have looked a little bit different. Maybe a lot of things would have looked different. We already saw how he went after Trump with the War Powers Act with the people that he had. So what does this tell you? That Trump was strategic with his endorsement of Paxton because he knew what he was up against. And he made them believe that they had the leverage against him. And in the last minute, Trump makes the phone call to Paxton's office. I know this because I was in one of the spaces with one of the people that was very high up. I won't say her name because I don't know if she wants me to mention it or not, but she's in this space and she articulated this entire thing on when the phone call came through and what Paxton said to Trump. And Paxton told Trump, hey, I could use that now, not in a few days because of the ballots and everything that are in play right now. And Trump said, okay, give me a few hours. And about 2 or 3 hours later, around 12 o'clock Central Time, Trump puts out the endorsement to Paxton. So again, this was a master move, as Rock Justice in the chat said, and I agree with you. So that takes us to the next part of this little story, what I'm talking about here. Eric Dowdery puts, wow, Ken Paxton's odds of winning the U.S. Senate Texas primary just surged a whopping 92% mere minutes after Donald Trump's endorsement, according to Polymarket. John Cornyn down to just 8%. The Trump endorsement is huge. Storm the polls, Texas. Get Paxton into the nuke to filibuster and pass the Save America Act. Remember Trump and Matt Gaetz having a conversation about they have a secret weapon? Is Paxton going to be that secret weapon? We're going to see. But the point that I'm making is this was the impact that Trump knew was going to happen. You know who was not surprised by this? Trump. That's who wasn't. You know who was? Thune. And this is what made Thune go on a rampage, which brings us to this. Let me play this clip so you guys can hear it with your own ears. Gosh, I don't have, hold on. I thought I had this one for you folks. I don't, but I want you guys to hear this. So let's readjust this. I'll go big screen with me. We're live and we're going to make this work. So, and then I'll take it back to the way we normally do. All right. Let me pause this. All right. You guys should be able to hear it. It's only about half a minute anyways. All right, here we go.
Given that you've spent months trying to encourage, persuade the president to endorse John Cornyn in the Texas primary, and given that the NRSC has invested heavily to help Cornyn win that primary, how personally disappointed or frustrated are you with the president's decision to endorse Ken Paxton today?
Well, I think you all know my position on this issue. I've made it very clear for months now. And Senator Cornyn is a principled conservative. He is a very effective senator for the state of Texas. And but none of us control what the president does.
He is pissed. All right, let me just get this back into the format. There we go. Give me 1 second, folks. And here we go. All right, now we're back to normal. So he's pissed. And this, I mean, the dude looks like he's biting his tongue while he's answering those questions, which brings us to this tonight. If you guys were watching, let me hit refresh, see if we got any numbers that come in. At 91%, just over it, you have Ken Paxton, 64%, John Cornyn at 36%. This was not just a loss. This was Trump popping flares. That is a ass whooping against the Uni Party, the establishment. Again, if we go back to the video, if you got here, you know, when we do the trailer, the teaser, I had Boone Cutler, and he's talking about the Bolsheviks, and he's talking about you're not going to look at this as Democrat. You don't want to look at this as a Republican. That'll confuse you. We're going to lose time that we can't make up for. We got to look at this as the Uniparty, the establishment, and that's what this is. This 64 to 36%. That is Trump and MAGA giving a ass whooping to the Uniparty establishment. And this is what's going to happen. I'm telling you, folks, if you saw DEF CON, this part might sound like a repeat, but Trump is going to make a major move before we get to midterms. And when we get to midterms and you see that we actually have elections where the people we vote for get into power, guess what's going to happen? After January, when all these people finally sworn into office, Trump gets to do the arrest that you guys all have been wanting, because he's going to have a government that is going to be aligned with him, not against him. He's going to have a government that's not going to try to impeach him like if he did it right now. When he says we got to do this and do this, they're going to be with them. They're not going to be grandstanders like Massey. They're not going to be fakes like Thune and others. He's going to have what a lot argue as a super majority. And I definitely think that is possible. Let's keep flying through this because I gave us a time limit. Again, MAGA and Trump dominated. Trump put it out there, I think, when it was only like at 40-some% reporting, but he knew. The Republican nominee for U.S. Senator from Texas, Ken Paxton, wins. MAGA and Trump dominate again. Let's shift gears. Why is this important? All of this important. MAGA is not dead. That was the first slide that we showed coming into the show tonight. 37-0, 10-0 in Pennsylvania, 9-0 in Georgia, 5-0 in Idaho, 1-0 in Oregon, 6-0 in Kentucky, and 6-0 in Alabama. And again, you saw he went undefeated today as well. MAGA is definitely not dead. This brings us to, let me see how his race is going real quick. I have this one up too. Give me 1 second. As it stands right now, let me bring this up so you guys can see this too, so you guys don't have to take my word for it. Give me 1 second while I copy this link. Let's bring it over here. Come on, paste for me. So, Chip Roy, 44%, and Mays Middleton, 55%. Mays Middleton wins the Texas primary. Now, Trump was pretty strategic here. Trump didn't do an endorsement on this one. And, everybody can have their different opinion on why he didn't. I think he knew it was going to be a close race. It turns out it wasn't that close as some anticipated, but Chip Roy's done. There's another rhino that's gone. And why is that important? Because this clip I do have, and I'm going to play for it so you can hear what Chip Roy had to say about MAGA.
No, I mean, you talked about a circle of your description, pleasure. I know what you're doing there. I would also argue that, some of our brothers and sisters, particularly in the, MAGA camp, I think, particularly enjoy the circular firing squad. You want to come at me and call me a rhino? You can kiss my ass. Look, I've spent a lifetime fighting for limited government conservatism. I have laid it all on the line. I've not seen my family but for 2 days in the last 30 days. You go around talking your big game and you thumping your chest on Twitter. Yeah, come to my office and come have a debate, mother. You know why? Because I'm standing up for this country every single day. And Steve, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to go to a nunnery because there were people who were buried over in Normandy who deserve us to stand up for what they fought for. So that's what I'm going to do. And all of you out there who are out there saying what you're saying out on social media, you stick it. I'm going to go down to the floor and do my job, and I'm going to stand up for the people who fought for this country. And I'm going to do it the way I think is right for the people that I represent. That's what I think.
Well, you know what America thought? They thought, fuck you too. And he lost. He got that ass whooped. Listen, they do a good job of disguising themselves, but then as you start to pay attention to their rhetoric, you start to realize who's a rhino. So now, why is that important? Because this is the craziness that Texas is dealing with out there. This almost seems so fake when I saw this ad, but this ad is going to be brutal. Insurrection Barbie puts out, this is a brutal ad against Tallarico. Brutal. If you're not familiar with this Democrat, you're going to be now. Listen to this.
The Democrats have a weird candidate.
God is non-binary. There are many more than 2 biological sexes. In fact, there are 6. It is now existential that we try to reduce our meat consumption. The American flag is such a complicated symbol for most of us. Prophetic voices like Jesus have helped me reckon with my own whiteness, my own masculinity. Our southern border should be like our front porch. There should be a giant welcome mat out front. No need to sit and cry over, your whiteness or your masculinity. They're going to call me a radical leftist.
Something that you love that's not family or friends.
I love, and just say this because it's on my mind, the trans children.
The Democrats have a weird candidate.
Low T Tallarico, too weak for Texas. Lone Star Liberty PAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
And the dude's even a vegan. I know Texas ain't gonna freaking elect no vegan, but again, I mean, I like the trans kids. That is creepy. Listen, folks, these aren't even, I hate calling these people Democrats because if you look back to the Kennedy Democrats, this is not the same thing. If Bill Clinton wouldn't be allowed to run as a Democrat in today's Democratic Party. That's how far gone that institution is. But again, I like what Tinfoil said. Demons on display. 100% agree with you on that, Tinfoil. But here's some other pretty good news. Mike Lindell puts out breaking news. Mike Lindell leads in the race for Minnesota governor. New polling shows Mike Lindell leading the Republican field just days before the Minnesota GOP convention with a President Trump endorsement. His lead grows to commanding 22 points. So we will see how that one turned out. I don't know if anybody has an update. I don't think that one happened just yet. Somebody can update us in the chat. But again, that was pretty solid. which brings us to California. This one blew my mind. California early vote update. This is from May 18th, so we're at about 7 days on this right now. California early vote total, 971,000. But here's the thing. Look at the Republican numbers here. It's at 37%. People thought that this was going to be a blowout. And if you look at the Democrats at 41, we're sitting at what, 4%? If my Marine Corps math is mathing, that is significant. Now, granted, I've heard some people come out and say, yeah, but you know, the ones that are going to show up and all that. Listen, we way over did it on the numbers here. I think the numbers they were anticipating was like in the low 20s, if I remember correctly. And we brought in at 37. So if the early vote update looks like this, then maybe Republicans in California like myself are pissed and says, hey, we're not just going to show up for the presidential elections, but we're going to show up for these primaries. We're going to show up for these midterms. Like, we are going to be a part of this. That's what the number seems to be indicating here. Let's hope that this sticks. Which brings us to Kevin Smith puts, these Spencer Pratt videos keep getting better and better. So if you haven't seen one, I do have this one for you. Check this out.
This mayor race is really heating up. Who you guys voting for? Haven't decided? Same, haven't really been following it. Same. I'm not MAGA or anything. But the city's kind of gone to shit though, right? Oh yeah. Jessica stepped on a needle at the playground the other day. I'm not MAGA or anything though. I'm not MAGA or anything, but have you been downtown lately? Looks like an episode of The Walking Dead. Not that I'm MAGA or anything, though. Spencer Pratt seems like he has some good ideas. Not that I'm MAGA or anything. He does seem really angry all the time, though. Well, they did burn his house down. Also, apparently he's staying at the Bel Air Hotel, not the trailer on his property. Well, yeah. They burned his house down. Okay, we're all adults here. How about on 3, we just say who we're voting for? 1, 2, 3. Spencer Pratt. Yeah. Spencer Pratt. Can you imagine if our wives knew?
We're all voting for Spencer Pratt, right? Of course. Obviously. I wish I could vote like yesterday.
Absolutely genius on that ad, the way they went about it. June 2nd, Californians. June 2nd. That's where we're going to go. We're going to pick our governor. LA is going to pick their mayor. June 2nd is going to be, listen, I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to get so excited, but these early vote numbers gave me a newfound kind of motivation on what potentially can be happening here in California. Because again, remember, the money laundering has been run out. The black, the black market, underground money is being removed from the Democrats. You have the investigations that are taking place in California. You have the lady from Newsom's campaign team, I believe it was, that already pled guilty. You don't think that she made a deal in that plea? Hell yeah, she did. You don't think that information she gave is going to lead to indictments of others, maybe even Newsom himself? It definitely at least looks that way. So we will see. Which brings us to this. This news isn't so great, folks. This one comes from Eric Dowry again. Holy crap, President Trump's daughter, Ivanka Trump, was targeted in an assassination plot by the Iranian IRGC trained terrorists from the New York Post. Here's the audio to listen to that.
A remarkable effort by our FBI, Director Patel leadership, and our international partners. And we were able to intercept and get in the middle of this man's attempts to wreak havoc and terrorize not only the United States, Canada, Europe. And so we were able to introduce an undercover working with our law enforcement partners. So I think what our U.S. attorney just said is dead on, that President Trump's leadership around the world allows us to have the credibility and the partnership to allow us to work with folks overseas. And that's what happened here. So he was brought here and appeared in court earlier today. And it is on the one hand should be very alarming to the people in this country that there are men around the world trying to exact this sort of terror. On the other hand, it shows the success of good law enforcement work and good police work and working hard to protect our borders, which is what we do every single day. And so this investigation is ongoing. It's just a complaint. I expect the next steps will be an indictment, and obviously we're still investigating and going to make sure that anybody that was involved with him will be brought to justice as well.
Was he picked up in Iraq, and when was he brought to the United States?
He was recently brought to the United States. I want to be careful talking about the operation so I don't put anybody in danger, but it's enough to say that this was an effort that included not only the FBI, but our law enforcement partners overseas as well.
Yeah.
A whole lot going on there. And why is this important? Through maybe some people being naive, to include some of my, friends and family and partners. But a lot of people say, the Muslim threat is Jewish propaganda. Oh, the Islamic threat is Jewish propaganda. Listen, there's definitely some Jewish propaganda that exists out there. I've called it out on multiple shows for multiple years. That does not mean that this is fake. Extremists in Islam, extremists from the IRGC absolutely represent a threat to our country and absolutely represent a threat to President Trump. Let's rewind the clock all the way back to Charlie Kirk, the day that he was assassinated, September the 10th. And there was something that happened that morning that a lot of people weren't talking about. Me and Josh were on a phone call that morning. This was preceding the assassination. And what that information was, that Barron Trump got a quick reaction team that removed him from where he was at, and he was taken straight to DC. I believe the White House or somewhere in DC, but he was taken there. It was a quick extraction team that did that. A move like that, in my opinion, is because they received information and there was a threat that existed. Again, this goes all the way back to then. Now, Charlie Kirk gets assassinated a few hours later. Could that be a coincidence? Could be. Could it be, since we can't get him, we're going to do this now? It could be. Is this the timing of that is very important. Again, they can't get to Trump, so they have to deter him another way. Again, if you saw DEFCON tonight, you saw us talking about Tulsi Gabbard, and her husband ends up battling with cancer. So now she's going to be dealing with that and leaving the office of the DNI at the end of next month. We find out from Pam Bondi she's dealing with a thyroid cancer. Are they using bioweapons on people? Maybe. But again, just understand that this threat is very, very real. So let's keep our president, his family, and the team in prayers. Let's keep firing through this. I am deeply, this comes from Tulsi Gabbard about what I was just talking about right now. I'm deeply grateful for President Trump. I'm deeply grateful for the trust President Trump placed in me for the opportunity to lead ODNI for the last year and a half. Unfortunately, I must submit my resignation effective June 30th, 2026. My husband, Abraham, has recently been diagnosed with an extremely rare form of bone cancer. He faces major challenges in the coming weeks and months. At this time, I must step away from public service to be by his side and fully support him through his battle. Prayers to her husband. And again, this woman has been instrumental in what's going on. Now, who's going to replace her? You guys could probably guess who you think I want. You can tell me who you want down in the chat or in the comments. I'm definitely look forward to looking at all that stuff while I edit a little bit tonight and tomorrow, see what your guys' thoughts are, see how many of you have the same expectation that I have. But again, she's not leaving till next month, and now we have information coming from people like John Solomon and others that she is also going to bring a lot of the 2020 stuff out to the surface as she's leaving. So we'll wait to see, but again, prayers for her. Which brings us to this. I talked about it tonight as well. Cartels got RICO charges dropped on them. What are we talking about? 23 members of the criminal organization known as La Familia Nunca Muere, the family that never dies, charged with racketeering and murder as part of Homeland Security Task Force initiative. I got a few things here that I wanted to read from the highlights surrounding this. DEA Caribbean Division joins ONDCP director from HIDA and federal partners to highlight success of Operation Path to Zero and strengthen Homeland Security Task Force efforts. This is from May 21st. And it says Office of National Drug Control Policy, ONDCP Director Sarah Carter. Shout out to Sarah. Operation Path to Zero was led by the U.S. Postal Inspection Services Miami Division, and San Juan Domicile was launched in January 2026 and has already resulted in the seizure of 556 kilograms of cocaine and over 448 USPS parcels detained from mainland United States. The operation represents a coordinated partnership among federal, state, and local agencies, including the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Puerto Rico and members of the Homeland Security Task Force. Again, we are seeing something that doesn't really always get a lot of publicity. And we're talking about the postal office. And why is that important? Because we know that part of the executive order that Trump signed is that if they're going to do mail-in ballots in places like California, and they're going to do it through the postal services, there's a strict regiment of boxes that they got to check to do that in order to make sure that they can't do fraud. And when did Trump sign that executive order? Just a few weeks ago, to not give them enough time to come up with the logistics to do it a different way. What does that tell you? It reaffirms what me and a few others have been saying for quite some time. Trump has had this plan mapped out for years, and he's deploying it against them now because, again, we're coming to a fatal funnel. We're coming to a choke point. We got 2020 election stuff that's going to surface. He just dropped the hammer on the way they thought that they were going to steal with ballots, and he's removed their ability to do that with not enough time for him to do the logistics. He's dried up their money from white-collar money laundering, from USAID, National Endowment for Democracy, Act Blue, FTX, and then he went after the dark money side of it, which is the cartels, MS-13, La M, all of them. This has been a plan of perfection. When you listen, this is what I did for a living. I did operational planning as a lot of my assignments. The level of perfection that's been deployed on something this large is just truly impressive. So with that, we're not going to get into the themes of the show. But before we do that, this is an awesome ad. I'll probably be doing this over the next few days so you guys can capitalize on it while we have time. So let me go full screen with me to make it a little bit easier when you guys screenshot the QR code. And you'll see that right about now. There you go. So you see the QR code and you see that shoulder bag. Now, this is why it's all Patriot Cash, folks. And you want to get into that link. I went to the link before I did the show and I was like, this is pretty freaking cool. So, all right. So I've carried a lot of bags, range bags, EDC bags, travel bags, you name it. I have so many of those bags in my garage still. And most of them, they look the part, but fall apart the second you actually put them to work because a strap busts and it becomes a tool bag or an extra bag. I'm here. This one's different. The Patriot Cash Tactical Shoulder Bag is running MOLLE webbing across the body, meaning you can attach pouches, clips, whatever your setup calls for. The zippers are full length, two-way, actually smooth, water-resistant fabric, micro mesh padding on the back so that you're not sweating through your shirt, and it's fully adjustable. Here's one of my favorite parts. Designed in the USA with actual military use in mind, not just military aesthetics, and you guys know what I'm talking about with that. Here's where it gets interesting. Right now, Patriot Cash is doing a giveaway. 500, you heard that right, 500 of these bags for free. Normal retail is $79, but you just cover the shipping, and they're stacking a Tack-Right Strike pocket knife on top of it. Razor sharp, compact, the kind of blade that actually earns a spot in your carry rotation. That's also free. So, look, I'm not going to oversell it, although it's hard not to, but it's a well-built sling bag from a company that actually gives a damn about quality. And right now, it costs you nothing but shipping. That's a hard deal to argue with. The link's in the description. GetPatriotCash.com/alpha. GetPatriotCash.com/alpha. Grab the bag, grab the knife, and go actually use it for something. That's the whole point. And again, that's GetPatriotCash.com/alpha. That link will be down in the description if you're watching the replay. And if you're in the chat, you'll see that populate here in the chat in just a second. So again, if you guys haven't gone to the website yet to take a look at it, it's a pretty kick-ass looking bag. And for those of you that have ran bags, you know zippers are the things that are either going to make you fall in love with it or make you hate it. Let's see. Someone mentioned trolls sleep at midnight and that other jerk. If there's a troll in the chat, somebody let me know. been peeking over there, and I haven't seen one just yet. So hopefully you guys are not dealing with trolls. Let me bring this back up so we can get back into right here. Roseanne Barr. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody name a troll, so I want to make sure you guys are having a good time. 2,300 people watching on Rumble right now. You guys are solid. And I'll have to go peek over there and see how many of you guys are watching on YouTube. Actually, let's take a look right now because curiosity, right? Let me see. Let's see. A little over 400. So, hey, if you're watching over there on YouTube, share it out. There's probably some other people that are up late right now. You guys can get there, smash the thumb, leave a comment, help the algorithm. But again, Roseanne Barr says, oh, yes, we do. Horseshoe theory is real. Normal people. And that's the people below that line that you see right there on this screen. Actually, let me click on this picture, make it a little bit better for you guys. You see the woke left. You see Greta. You see Bernie. You see all AOC. Like you got the woke left. But then you swing it to the other side of the horseshoe. And what do you have? The woke right. I think that's hilarious. You got Tucker, Nick Fuentes, Candace, Ian. You have Tate. You have Jake Shields, MTG. I mean, you have these two factions. And the crazy part is the mainstream media and alt media promote these people as if in what they say represents the masses. And it doesn't. Because all of us are the ones that fall below that line, the normal people. And the fact that Roseanne picked up on this, and she's responding here to Crusader Cat, says, this massive loss just vindicated Nick Fuentes. We must all vote Democrat in 2026. Hopefully people understand now. And again, this is that crazy rhetoric. And again, you have it from the woke left, you have it from the woke right. So just remember, folks, that when you see either one of these factions that's being sold as they are the voice of MAGA, or they are the voice of the left, or the voice of the right, no, they're not. These are the people that have been promoted through third parties, through NGOs, through, any adversary to the United States to sell propaganda, to sell an agenda. And they're losing. And again, if you're looking at these wins and Trump's endorsements, they're absolutely losing. So shout out to Roseanne on putting that one out there. I thought that was great. And then we get this. New York Post, U.S. Secretary of Health Robert F. Kennedy Jr. believes that DARPA, a secretive military agency, is spraying dangerous chemtrails in the sky and has vowed to put a stop to it. This is huge, folks. And again, there's some people in that woke right. If we go back to the graphic we just looked at, you have these two people right here, Candace Owens, Ian Carroll, right? If you go back to last year, these two people were telling you that this man right here was cooked. Remember that? They have evidence that RFK is being controlled through leverage. He's going down. Wait till we show this. As a matter of fact, we're sharing each other's locations because there's a threat to our safety. You guys remember those conversations? I do. And guess what? Nothing ever came out of it. So ask yourself now, these same people that have tried to recreate the narrative to something that they're trying to push on an agenda on Charlie Kirk, these same people were trying to take this man down. Why? This man who's been trying to take red dye out of cereals, this man that has been trying to take vaccinations out of schools, and now he's going after chemtrails, a DARPA program, something that went from conspiracy theory that NASA denied to now they acknowledge, and this man's going after it. This is good stuff. And then we had this one. Enoch puts this out. Did someone say two snakes? And so you saw this video, and I believe this was at Dr. Oz's property, if I remember correctly. But, you had this photo right here, or it was a video actually of RFK Jr. getting these black snakes, right? And he keeps trying to get them into one hand, and one of them even bites his left hand. But ultimately, he does get them. And it makes you wonder, is there symbolism here? I thought this was a great catch. Yeah, I mean, look at what he's doing. Was that planned? Is it divine? I don't know. But the point is he's painting a picture there. And I agree with Rock Justice. This is a man, absolutely. So I wanted to share that with you guys. I think that there's something very interesting there. Then we have Melissa Tate. If you guys saw DEathCon, Earlier, you saw this show, or you saw the clip from this show. I'm going to bring it into here now. It was out of place here because I was going to show it actually later. Actually, we're going to bypass it because it's tied into another part, and we'll come back to it. So then we get into the Charlie Kirk crime scene. This one's going to be a quick one. It's going to be a single video. I'm going to play this clip for you. It's a little over a minute. And then I'm going to point out to you guys how this is complete bullshit. However, this has gone rampant. Yeah, Shadow of Ezra picked it up. He picks up a lot of the shit because he knows it's clickbait. But the thing is a lot of people in alt media, people that we know are nefarious, all of a sudden trying to recreate the argument. So I'm going to play the clip. And then again, when this clip is done, I'm going to tell you why this is bullshit.
So when I got the call, I thought, you better fucking believe it. I'm going to go help. That was all it was. I'm going to go help these guys. He's asking for help. They want to do it right. He framed it in the sense that, hey, we want this to be done right. So that's why I showed up. So, I mean, to do pavers correctly, you over excavate, you get rid of the topsoil.
Oh, you do?
You do, 100%. Okay. You want to get a good base. And these guys had kind of, there was two guys in charge and a ragtag crew. One of the guys was in charge of a state-owned facility in American Fork, and the other guy was in a maintenance groundskeeper on a facility in Provo. And these are the two guys I'm corresponding with. The first guy, the second guy that I hadn't talked to on the phone basically said, hey, look, we're not talking to anybody. We're not saying anything to the media. He says this is above our pay grade. The FBI and the state, the governor and the FBI, that's what they told me. The governor and the FBI said they want this done by Monday, and we need to get it done.
So, first off, the first thing that I want to address is people are saying that this is evidence. And a lot of people, what you're telling me is you don't understand what the evidence is. This is not evidence. This is secondhand information to this guy. The guy conducting this interview should have reached out if he really wanted to see, hey, if there's some legitimacy here. Hey, man, give me the numbers of those two guys. I want to reach out to them and find out who are their points of contact from the state or from the FBI. And he didn't do it. So this is secondhand information that this guy's getting from two other people that are a part of this. The second part of why this is bullshit. The FBI has no jurisdiction in the controlling of that property of the school. The FBI doesn't get to come out and say, we want this. They don't own it. That's the mere fact that he would even suggest that already told me that it was bullshit. So again, you have secondhand information and you have someone claiming that the FBI is pushing to get this done and get this covered up when they don't own it. Here's the third part. It doesn't even matter. When a law enforcement agency, and for those that don't know, I was a cop for nearly a decade and a half, ran crime scenes, ran homicides. When we leave the scene, it's because we are done. Because if you go and you find evidence after the fact, that evidence is going to have a hard time surviving in court because of the chain of custody. Well, you guys were already done with the scene. Why didn't you find it when you were out there the first time? Maybe it wasn't really there. Maybe somebody came back and planted it. Maybe you guys planted it. So you do a comb through of the scene before you ever clear it. So the fact that people are trying to make it seem like that's the case, people have a complete non-understanding of the way crime scenes operate. Just like if you go back to the day of that event, and he had the TPSA employee that went and grabbed the flash drive out of the camera. And people were like, oh, he just went and stole evidence. And he didn't. Until law enforcement shows up and says, this is a crime scene. We're in control of this. Back out. Here's our perimeter. That people are going to do that stuff. And it's our job to track it down. Now, could he have been doing it for nefarious reasons? He could have been. There's an explanation that came with it afterwards. But at the time, operating on what we knew, he also could have been operating on, hey, that's an important flash drive, and I don't want one of these spectators to go and grab it. Again, the point being, he didn't steal evidence. Now, when you bring that guy into questioning, and he says, no, I never did that, and you saw that he did do that, Well, now you have it, and there is the troll. So let's ban this troll for life. There you go. Got rid of him, folks. I need a Rumble a Rumble moderator. So let me know if you guys are interested in doing that. But again, smoke the troll and ban it. They're gone. They're gone, Smugsley. I gave them a lifetime ban. But again, the point I'm just trying to make here is the guy's operating off secondhand information. He's attributing the command coming from someone that doesn't even have jurisdiction to give that command. And then again, it wouldn't even matter to begin with because the crime scene was done. It doesn't matter if they would have came back that night and did it. The crime scene is done. So hopefully that will give you guys some more information that's actually factual instead of speculation. And now we're going to move into the longer theme of the show. But even then, we're actually doing pretty good on time at the hour mark because I think we're going to fly through this part pretty quick. And this is the Massey operation. So we're going to kind of build the picture here. I know some people are like, I'm tired of talking about Massey, and I get it, but understand that the operation's still in play. And as long as it's still in play, we have to address it. And so we're going to start off here. We'll make it a little bit fun. Politirican puts out Time Life Massacre, and there is Trump standing over Massey, who is in the fetal position, which I absolutely love. Shout out to my boy CanCon. You're wrong. You owe me a steak and lobster dinner. That's okay. And then we come into this clip. Eric Dougherty, wow, the power of the Trump brand to motivate voters. 12-year incumbent Massey beaten by a newcomer because of Trump endorsement. My party would make a big mistake underestimating the power of the Trump ban. Let's take a listen.
It's very rare. And Laura, this sends a message to the entire Republican Party and indeed the entire country, as I was saying before, that the power of the Trump brand to motivate voters, in this instance, 12-year incumbent beaten by a newcomer because of the Trump endorsement. And I think my party would make a very big mistake underestimating the power of the Trump brand and the fact that, as you say correctly, he has not lost a primary yet. He wins Louisiana. He wins the Kentucky Senate primary, and now this key House race. So I don't think this can be overestimated, Laura.
Yeah,
and just laughing. So again, sorry, folks, got distracted there in the background. Miss is trying to take care of me with these trolls, but I'm on top of it. I got this. Next, we get John Nance. He puts out another doomer, crashes out on the Massey prediction. Robert Barnes, so disappointing in this guy, but it is what it is. He puts out my final forecast, over 100,000 votes, and Massey wins. Now, a couple of things I want to point out here, other than he totally is crashing out. A lot of these people who are now screaming election fraud because there was such a massive turnout in votes, they were talking about this many votes showing up. Here's a perfect example of it from Robert Barnes. 100,000 votes. So 100,000 votes when Massey would have won is not considered election theft or fraudulent. But when that kind of voting number shows up and Ed kicks the shit out of Massey, all of a sudden now we're going to call election fraud. Again, crashing out. What else are we seeing? I wish he hadn't said this from Ted Cruz. I'm glad he did, because those saying he's going to have a 2028 race. Not when he did this.
All right. Listen, I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrein in Tel Aviv. I did get the call through, though. I have called and conceded the race. We've been honorable the whole time, and we're going to stay that way.
We've been honorable the whole time. Couldn't find my guy, Ed, that I was running against because he's in Tel Aviv, but we were honorable. It's part of the reason you got your ass kicked. This was another one. Hold on. Did I skip one? Oh, no, it should be coming up. Hope I didn't skip it because it was funny as hell. All right, here we go. So, oh, no, it's coming up on the next one. All right, I see where my lineup is. Donald Trump puts out Horrible Congressman Thomas Massey put out an old endorsement from many years ago of him by me long before I found out that he was the worst congressman in the history of our country. I endorse Ed Gallerin, a true American patriot, which Massey knows full well. So the statement that he put out is fraudulent, just like he is fraudulent. Withdraw your fake statement, Massey, right now, President Donald J. Trump. And of course, you have this clown that shows up. Look who climbed out of his Israeli echo chamber. This is why they got their asses kicked so bad. And what are we talking about? Jay puts out, the Massey bots have now community noted President Trump with a fake community note. And this is regarding the post that I just read from Trump. What are they talking about? So what we saw down here, for those of you that don't battle in the trenches of X, formerly Twitter, one of the things that shows that there was a formal operation to support Massey and that it was done through nefarious means was this community note. So community notes is this feature on X that's ran by users. Users apply. I've applied for it forever ago. Still haven't heard correspondence back. A lot of, MAGA, true America First, true Republicans, conservatives have applied, and not a very many at all have been accepted into the program. Who knows what the reasons may be there? But we have seen that when any post was put up to show information about Massey that was negative, this massive army of community noters would come in and then put these community notes. And what this does is it does affect these statements going into the algorithm. It does affect if people are going to start seeing them. And this community note, remember, Massey goes and, well, let me just read the community note and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Let me zoom in a little bit for those of you that want to see it a little bit better. There we go. It says Trump did endorse Massey in 2022, calling him a conservative warrior. He endorsed Gallerin in 2026, but the old post isn't fraudulent. You see the wordplay there? And this is what Massey and his clowns are notorious for, playing with words. Trump endorsed Massey back in 2022. Massey texted this endorsement during a 2026 race to mislead these people that aren't on social media, to mislead these people that aren't watching alt media, to be like, oh, well, I support Trump and it looks like Trump's endorsing him, because some people are in a hurry and they don't pay attention. But you just saw Massey saying we've been honorable this whole time. Massey's campaign did that. That's honorable. That's definitely not honorable. I would argue that's borderline illegal. In borderline, it's not illegal, and I know that, but damn, it's borderline close. Which then brings us into this guy right here, Richard Barris. This is another one that's just sad, and it says Richard Barris, who has bet his credibility on Thomas Massey, looks like he's about to cry when finding out that the Massey campaign is deliberately lying about a Trump endorsement.
That the Massey campaign is sending out mass texts with a 2022 Trump statement that kind of makes it look like the president is supporting Massey today when it's actually an endorsement from 4 years ago. And at the very end, it says paid for by the Massey.
Listen, you put your credibility out there, and that's what happens. It does kind of look like he's wanting to shed some tears, but let's keep pushing on. Sean Farash, you guys know him. I've interviewed him a few years ago, does the voice of impersonations for Trump, does a great job. Thomas Massey is an absolute fraud. I would not argue with him on this. In May of 2023, Massey was the deciding vote in the House Rules Committee on the Fiscal Responsibility Act, which suspended the debt ceiling under Biden for the remainder of his term. You guys have heard me mention this many times. Not only was it Biden, but it was also McCarthy. That resulted in adding $1.5 trillion to the national debt. He then voted in favor of it again in the full floor vote. So twice. The answer is he has no principles. He is only guided by his personal vendetta against President Trump. Thankfully, people are waking up to what a phony this guy is. Hopefully, Kentucky 4th District sends him packing. They did. Shout out to Cybermark, who just became a monthly supporter over here on Rumble. Welcome to the family. And I see a lot of people that argue, Massey argues this. Well, he votes with Republicans and Trump 90% of the time. That is bullshit taken out of context. Why? Because what was the big, beautiful bill? The big, beautiful bill was the entire package of us giving Trump a mandate. So when he voted against the big, beautiful bill, he literally was voting against the entire mandate that we sent Trump to. So if you want to say you voted on these other things, when it came down to the nitty gritty, the most important things, especially the big, beautiful bill, he wasn't there for that. He was in opposition to that. That is not supporting President Trump. That is not supporting the agenda. And again, you can't say your principles. And like I said, I've been saying this way before I even saw Sean put this post out. If you guys been watching my show, you've known my position. If you're a man of principles, you would have never voted with McCarthy and Biden to raise that debt ceiling to $1.5 trillion. That never would have happened. If you're willing to say, and people, well, he did it because he was going to get something out of it. Oh, fine. You can't say you're about principles anymore because you got bought, which will bring us into the conversation that's coming up here just momentarily. Shannon Joy. Something special is happening in Kentucky. It's a David versus Goliath moment. A small group of independent creators, remember this, a small group of independent creators that's going to come and play here in a few minutes, have decided to travel to Kentucky to help Thomas Massie defeat the Uniparty machine, and we are winning. Meet some of these people changing the narrative, and I love the fact that they put the roster of all the people that I need to keep track of there, as well as the FBI and DOJ. But remember that. A small group of independent creators, and you can take out that independent word, but you'll get what I'm saying and where we're going. Owen Schroyer. If Galrin wins tonight, you will witness the completion of MAGA becoming everything it once stood against. Really. This is the crash out that these anti-MAGA, anti-Trump simps are all going through right now. MTG. This violates the very law Trump signed and Melania championed. The Take It Down Act makes it illegal to promote deep fakes. Voters are being swayed by AI campaign ads against Thomas Massie and Bobby Sauce. A voter in Kentucky's 4th just told Zachary Loff she voted for Ed because she saw an ad of Massie in Kentucky in a throuple with some Democrats. She had no idea the ad was AI generated and fake. Annie, Get Your Gun just became a monthly supporter on the Rumble show. Shout out to you guys. Thank you. Thank you for helping my mission and welcome to the family. Let me take a peek, see if we have any people joining the family over here on YouTube. Nope, not just yet, but thank you guys for you guys. And we have another troll, and we got this one right away. Banned forever. They're hating, right? I mean, the trolls are out at 10:23 p.m. on the West Coast, right? So that's what, Marine Corps math, 11, 12, 1:23 a.m. They must not like the information we're putting out over here. But let's keep flying through this because I want to get you guys to at least get some sleep. Claire Patriot puts out, AOC has just confirmed the MTG is just a bitter, angry woman looking for revenge on Trump. And let's listen to her because this was solid. Listen, I'm telling you guys, I think AOC is a good guy who infiltrated the Democrats. Nobody's that dumb on purpose. He's playing a role. Speculation, but let's take a listen.
Here's some tea for you. MTG, people are like, oh my God, she's saying all of these things. Like, what's gotten into her lately? Oh, like she's bucking against Trump. She's bucking against the administration. Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to run for Senate in Georgia. She wanted to run for Senate earlier this year in the state of Georgia. She wanted to be the Republican nominee for Senate. So she was gearing up for that statewide race, and Trump told her no. Trump said no. And the White House and Trump land shut down Marjorie Taylor Greene's personal ambitions to run for Senate. And she has been on a revenge tour ever since.
And that is absolutely true. And that information came into me, I want to say early last year from somebody who's in that political environment from Georgia. Now, granted, it wasn't my information to share, but it was information I was privy to. And now you have AOC coming out and confirming what this is really about. Now, I would argue that there's probably more to it than just that, but that's definitely a key indicator. And yes, I got the troll, and they are done, folks. Let's keep pushing on. I'll try not to get too distracted. Alaska Bird Anti-Commie puts influencers who crept all over MAGA for clicks want their credibility back. They have no legitimacy unless they're pretending to be part of MAGA again. Not happening. What are we talking about? We're talking about that weird freak Sneeko, right? Freaking guy that does those pedophile style comments. Some would say straight pedophile comments. I speak for all of MAGA when I say we support Thomas Massie for Kentucky and demand the release of the Epstein files. Is he retarded? Do they not know that the Epstein Transparency Act was signed by President Trump into law and that it's out there? What you're asking for something that's already been done. And now people say, well, there's still some files that haven't been released. Did you study the Transparency Act? Because I did. And guess what? I studied even before that. Again, three things. And some of you might understand this if you've been watching the show for quite some time. There are 3 reasons that the DOJ doesn't have to release certain files or certain information can stay redacted. A victim's name, a minor's name, or information that's still part of an active investigation. None of them, including Massie, have asked Pam Bondi or now Todd Blanche once, is information not being released because it's part of an active investigation? And you know why none of them have asked that question? Because they know the answer. And they don't want you guys to hear that. They want to create doubt and speculation in the absence of asking the question to get the answer. But yes, that is why. Let's move on to the next one. Laura Loomer. A recently uncovered clip from X Spaces endorsed how disgraced former Representative Thomas Massie secretly recruited and built the campaign infrastructure for the anti-Semitic influencer Dan Bilzerian. Remember, we had Shannon Joy just a few moments ago, and I said, pay attention. She said, we had a group of independent influencers, right? That's going to play when we play this video clip here. Dan Bilzerian admitted that Massie had hand-delivered a team to orchestrate a political coup against Florida Representative Randy Fine, simply because Fine is Jewish. Now, whether you like Fine or not is irrelevant to the point here on what was being weaponized. Representative Randy Fine joined Laura Loomer Unleashed to expose Massie as intellectually bankrupt fraud who is conspiring with an American citizen to interfere with American elections. Massie should be expelled from Congress so that he can't be an obstructionist these next 7 months. Take a listen.
We just found out in a video clip that has since been exclusively released and published by me that Thomas Massie apparently recruited and helped build the campaign infrastructure for your neo-Nazi opponent, Dan Bilzerian. I want to go ahead and play this clip of Dan Bilzerian saying that Thomas Massie, who just gloriously lost his election tonight, was rejected by the voters who rejected Nazism in Kentucky's 4th District tonight, actually saying that Thomas Massie basically is organizing a coup against you. Let's go ahead and play this clip.
Technical level, try to prevent you from being on the ballot and everything like that. Are you prepared with the team that you need to tackle that?
I mean, yeah, I've got a team that Thomas Massie recommended. I think they're pretty good. You know, this is my first political run, so I'm sure we're going to have hiccups and hang-ups. I plan on going to Florida and doing some live events and, you know, communicating with the people. Hopefully get a group of people to kind of like go on the ground and knock on some of the doors. The problem is 70% of my district that has historically voted in the primaries. Hopefully we can change that. But historically, 70% of the people that have voted in the primaries are 55 and older. And so we're going to need to probably like boots on the ground, door to door, to actually reach those people. Like I said, my goal is to mobilize the youth. We've got 800,000 people in the district. We probably need 50,000 to win the primary. You win the primary, you win the whole thing. So it's not a super heavy lift. It's just, you know, I'm going to do some untraditional stuff, but I think we should also do the traditional, you know, door knocking, leave no stone unturned.
So this must feel really nice for you tonight, Congressman, knowing that the man who is responsible for your primary election is now defeated. But did you ever know that Thomas Massie had been quietly and secretly plotting against you, or is this the first time you're finding out?
Well, tonight's not the first time. I found out when you posted the clip.
But yes, of course, you found out by the clip that I posted when I posted this, of course,
Look,
yes, 2 days ago.
Losers generally hang out with losers. And so, I don't find any of it surprising. But I think it speaks to just the fraud that Massey is. Here's someone who talks about foreign influence and America first and everything else, who's apparently conspiring with a foreigner, someone who's a citizen of Armenia, to run for Congress. I think what it shows that Massey's simply an intellectually bankrupt loser who gravitated towards Jew hatred for the same reason so many other losers gravitate towards it, because it's easy. It's an easy way to blame someone else for your own failures in your life. And as we saw tonight, Thomas Massey literally is a loser. To lose a primary election as an incumbent is quite an accomplishment. It doesn't happen very often, and it happened pretty decisively tonight. And I think it happened because people could see that he was sort of a intellectually bankrupt guy. He's not a very smart person. And, I think never confuse degrees with intellect. He's just sort of a middling intellect, not very smart. And he did what stupid people do, blame the Jews. So I'm not surprised. I don't worry about these other people. As I've said before, my constituents are not going to elect a foreigner from Armenia to Congress. They're not going to elect a foreigner from anywhere to Congress. My constituents want an American in Congress, not an Armenian.
We got the next troll, so it looks like the trolls are gonna keep trying to come back, which is great because we'll keep making them make accounts and we'll keep getting rid of them. But again, here's the point. Remember, Ken and Joy said a group of independent influencers. We have Dan Bilzerian saying, and just for the record, and I know people hate it when we do the pat on the back, but accuracy matters, especially with people out there that don't want to give us credit for our positions that we've had. If you go back to before Trump even started campaigning, you guys remember, I named them by names: Nick Fuentes, Jake Shields, Dan Bilzerian, all of them. I said, these guys are going to go after Trump. The signs are there. And you see it right now. Again, it's not anything that's genius. It's just recognizing the patterns. And you see it here. And why? Because you'll see these influencers deny it, but yet they'll come out and say things like this. Bobby Sauce. This is the one that, remember, Massey did that super, very weird jump and hug to another guy. It was very, I'll leave it at that. But Bobby Sauce puts, our squad of social media folks that descended on Kentucky this week for Massey have generated over 1.2 billion impressions across our socials this week. Thank each of you for sharing, commenting, requesting, and liking. Now we wait. And of course, you see my response there. Now you know bots get you impressions, not votes. You're welcome. But again, for people out there saying that Massey didn't do this, that no, it's that there's not an operation at play. They're literally telling you, our squad, our group of independent thinkers, Dan Bilzerian, Massey told me this group to reach out to so we can have some ground people. I mean, folks, I don't know how much more you want to hear other than these people coming out, and the new pot of coffee just came in. So I'll have the energy to finish the last half of the show. And we're doing good on time. I don't think we're going to hit the 2 hour mark, but I think we are going to hit the 2.5 hour mark. I think we are going to nail that one. So let's keep firing through. Shadow of Ezra. Joe Kent says he fully supports Thomas Massey, calling him one of the best representatives America has had in years. Let's listen.
I think a lot of voters on the ground are, I think, kind of are at their wits' end. That's kind of what I sense when I speak to them, right? It's like if $25-30 million of foreign money can override, arguably one of the best representatives, I guess, for his constituents, where are we at? So, like, what do you think if Massey, were to lose this race on Tuesday? Where do the American people go from here?
That's actually my biggest concern. Obviously, I want Massey to win because he's the best representative, one of the best representatives that we have right now. He deserves to win. But if he does lose, it's going to it's going to disenfranchise a lot of the younger voters. And a lot of the younger voters, and I know you talk to them and I talk to them too, they're highly informed. They're very much America first. They want to do the right things for the country. However, they got burned really badly in this last election with what President Trump promised versus what he delivered. And now if the big money and the special interests are able basically to kind of stomp out Massey, I think an effect that we're going to have is a lot of people are going to be like, you know what, I got other stuff to do. I don't want to hear it. I don't really care about politics anymore. And they're going to check out. And that's how the establishment on the left and the right takes over. And then it's like, really, no matter who we get a war of Iran. Like that's kind of the bill of goods that we've been sold here. So that's probably my biggest concern. I'm cautiously optimistic. I think there's enough young, fired up people there in that district. And that district has really, I think, just been one of the heroic districts in the country where they've enabled Thomas Massey to go and to vote in accordance with what they stand for. So I'm cautiously optimistic, but that is my biggest concern, is that disenfranchisement if he does lose.
So there's a poll on the screen. It's the first time that I did one. So let's see if I did it right. It says, are you pro Massey? Type 1 or 2 in the chat. And we'll see how it works. Very cool. And another troll just came in. So let's get rid of that one. Forever. Boom, they're gone. The cool thing is, and they probably don't realize it, is once we ban them forever, it deletes all the messages that they put in there. So we're making them work, but that's okay. Then we bring it to Stu Peters. Another disappointment, but it is what it is. Massey, they tried to buy my vote for 14 years and it was never for sale. Now they're trying to buy a seat here in Kentucky. I'm talking about the Israeli lobby, AIPAC, Republican Jewish Coalition, Miriam Adelson, Paul Singer, and Joel Paulson. Massey just dropped names. You know what names he didn't drop? He didn't drop Yass. Who's Yass? I don't know. The guy that donated 1.2 million to Massey's campaign. And guess what? Oh, he's a Jewish billionaire. Massey didn't mention him. He didn't mention the Muslim family out of Texas. He's not, I mean, you can't say that you don't take any money. And so that means you're not taking no money, not bought, means you didn't take money from anybody outside of the small donations from your constituents. But you start taking it from Muslim families in Texas, they don't live in Kentucky. You take it from Yass, who's a billionaire. Well, that's an elite. So again, this is the hypocrisy, but nobody that was in support of Massey. And that's why I put up that poll. Are you a pro-Massey person? Because all the pro-Massey people have never been able to argue my points that I bring to them. And that point being is, if Massey says that he's against the elite billionaires buying campaigns, then why did he take $1.2 million from an elite billionaire who also happened to be Jewish, who he's criticizing in these posts? This is the hypocrisy. This is why I said this man has never been one of principles, going back to siding with Biden and McCarthy to vote under Biden's administration to raise the debt ceiling to something we had never seen, $1.5 trillion. Let's keep going because we're not done. I want to fire through this. Again, here's another one. This is a photo of Thomas Massey shaking hands with Iranian lobbyist Trita Parsi as he accepts an award from the Iran lobby. What is the American defense to this one? It's a good question. Then brings us back to Owen Schroyer. It's the people, Massey, versus the donor class, Galrin. Again, Massey took money from the very donor class. This is what these clowns, they lie to the people that follow them because they realize the people that are still following them to this point are dumb. And here's the thing. If you're still following these people like Owen Schroyer and Candace and Ian and Jake Shields and Dan Bilzerian, someone has to break it to you. You're going to be mad at me. It's because you're retarded. I'm literally showing you the evidence from their own words of them lying to you. But you won't take it. But yet they'll take something out of context that President Trump says, and you're like, see, Trump's lied about everything. And 9 out of 10 times I say, show me where he says it, and people can't find it. And then they're like, well, I couldn't find it. It never existed. That's why that's why these people never post the receipts, because they don't have any. Let's keep going. Mostly Peaceful Latinas puts this out. Thomas Massey on Owen Schroyer sends a warning to President Trump. And I'll let you guys listen to yourself.
More people in. And I've told these people up here in Washington, D.C., what's going to happen if you are able to take me out in the 40% likelihood that Polymarket and Kalshi have that I lose. If that happens, you have alienated about 4 or 5 factions of the Republican Party, the coalition that gave you the majority in the House, that gave you the White House. You're taking out Maha. You're telling them, we don't care about you. You're taking out the 40% of Republicans who are tired of these endless wars. Actually, I would say it's 80% who are tired of endless wars, but it's 40% who are sticking with that, even when we're doing our own.
No, 100% of MAGA is tired of endless wars. Trump is tired of endless wars. Do you see the wordplay? So for the few of you that voted your pro-Massey, this is what I'm saying, why you guys are retarded. He's saying he has the position of being endless wars and Trump doesn't, and that we don't. I'm absolutely against endless wars. I think all of MAGA is against endless wars. I know Trump's against endless wars. That doesn't mean I'm against war. We're in a world where evil lives. The cabal still exists. We see what they're doing to kids through human trafficking. We see what they're doing through organ harvesting. You don't think guess how you solve those problems? With wars. Guess what Trump has shown us? That you can use strategic military engagement, strategic combat operations to obtain your goal and be done in a few days, or like Venezuela, be done in less than 18 hours. When have we considered a war, or even Iran, something that's less than 60 days? When have we considered that an endless war? Less than 90 days an endless war. But again, this is them showing that they have a complete disrespect because they know you're retarded. They know that they're going to say this and you're going to be like, oh, Massey, pro-Massey, endless wars. Because you're retarded. Sorry, but it is what it is. Bring it back to mostly peaceful Latina, says Brian Krasentine endorsed Thomas Massey. The most conservative congressman in the Republican Party, he says. For those of you that are familiar with the Krasentine's brothers, who absolutely celebrated J6ers being arrested, celebrated Christians and Catholics being investigated by the FBI, celebrated the raid on Mar-a-Lago, celebrated Comey putting out 8647, have celebrated everything that anti-America, anything that's anti-America, they celebrated. And they endorse Thomas Massey. Now, that doesn't make you take pause and be like, I know those guys are dirt bags and they want Massey to win. Here's what Brian Krasentine put. Thomas Massey is one of the most conservative congressmen in the Republican Party. If you were a Republican and you were voting against him, it's not because of your political views, but because you want to protect the Epstein class. To all the people endorsing his opponent, thanks for uncovering the fact that you don't support the Epstein victims. They think you are retarded, folks. But again, a couple of you voted yes. Bring it back to Bella. She puts, may I remind you all, and I'm going to show a video clip right after this that you guys will definitely remember. Thomas Massey. I do not recommend this unless you're in a state where the outcome is already decided. And what's he referencing? DeSantis and Massey for the write-in. Electors of president and vice president. He's literally telling people to write in himself and DeSantis instead of voting for Trump and Vance. But he tells you that he's pro-Trump, that he's MAGA. Well, if that doesn't tick you off, you'll remember this because I called this one out when it happened. The Texas one puts Chip Roy traveled to Iowa for 3 months, sharing a bunk bed with Thomas Massey and Ron DeSantis to campaign against President Trump. The campaign spent $300 million to win 0 counties in Iowa. Vote Mays Middleton for Texas Attorney General. And if you guys remember, I called this out back when DeSantis was running, and I told you guys, and the post still exists, you can go look them up. I told you both these clowns are against Trump and MAGA, and both these clowns won't be around in the end. And what happened? In 1 week, both these dumbasses lost. And Chip Roy got this shit kicked out of him. Massey got his ass kicked. Chip Roy got the shit kicked out of him. And I'm absolutely just so pumped up for that one. Love seeing these rhinos getting their asses handed to them. That fired me up. I got another 30 minutes in me, Alan. Just kidding. We're gonna see this one through. Chip Roy says President Trump was afraid of Ron DeSantis and hid in the basement. He didn't say that. Oh, he didn't? Listen.
And I was just at multiple events with Ron DeSantis where he's shaking their hands and looking them in the eye while Donald Trump hangs out in his basement in Florida, afraid to actually debate. What's he afraid of? Look, I'm happy to debate him if he wants to anywhere. I'm just a little old congressman. Why won't he debate Ron DeSantis or any of the other candidates? I think he should.
Why do you think he won't get on the debate stage with the other Republicans?
Well, I mean, like I can tell you from Ron DeSantis' perspective is because he would clean his clock. I mean, if you compare the records, they're not comparable.
And that's why you lost tonight, Chip Roy. Remember, when you want to call MAGA a bunch of motherfuckers, you're going to lose. And you lost. I'm just saying. So let's keep going. You remember this one? Jacoby puts breaking Ryan Matta inside Massey's home and campaigning from while wearing a swastika, cheers on American troops being kidnapped. This one's sad, folks. This one is, some people just need to get just right in the throat. Just some people just, we need to go back to the 80s when men could handle men like men and it was acceptable. Listen to this. It's going to piss you off.
So we got some breaking news coming in from RT. Unfortunately, the video of the Marines getting captured turned out to be a total dud. That would have been fucking awesome, wouldn't it? Trump tries to take Kirk Island. The Marines get...
Unfortunately, the video of the Marines getting captured was a dud. It was fake. Wouldn't it have been awesome if it was real? The guy that Massey brought into his home and introduced to his wife, it's sad that the video of the Iranian Republican Guard capturing Marines was fake. But tell me how that's America first. Can't wait to meet Ryan one day. Have a gentleman's conversation. Zero puts, he's very angry. Talking about Junior again. I'm sick to my stomach. Why? Because the appeal came in from Nikita Bear and says, yep, you're not getting any other revenue anymore. And again, this is just part of the Massey camp. Kyle Rittenhouse, you guys are going to find this interesting. And I will just say, pay attention to the post that I did last week on Just Alpha. And remember that as I read this. Kyle Rittenhouse puts, for those calling me a traitor, just know this was less than a year after I was acquitted. Massey and Lauren Boebert have always stood by me, and I will do the same for them. And so I responded with this. So will your attorney and those influencers dinners? I wonder what those dinners were about. So again, he says, for those calling me a traitor, just know that this was less than a year after I was acquitted. Massey and Lobert have always stood by me, and I will do the same for them. And so will your attorney and those influencer dinners. I wonder what those dinners were about. More to come on that conversation, folks. But maybe now you know the homicide trial that I was talking about in that last post. Dun, dun, dun. It'll get spicy in the coming weeks. Trust me. There's some people already pissed off. Bad Almbre puts, Bill Cassidy received just over $500,000 from pro-Israel groups and never voted against aid to Israel. Trump ended him. Tom Tillis received $400,000+ from pro-Israel groups and never voted against aid to Israel. Trump ended him. John Cornyn received over $2 million from pro-Israel groups and never voted against aid to Israel. Trump endorsed his opponent, Paxton. Liz Cheney was endorsed by AIPAC She never voted against aid to Israel. Trump ended her. These are the facts that the pro-Massey, the pro-Jihadi, the pro-Tucker Carlsons, the pro-Candace Owens, the pro-Dan Bazarians, these are the facts that none of them are going to tell you because it destroys their narrative because they are one-trick ponies. Israel, Israel, Israel. Again, does AIPAC need to be removed from our government? Absolutely, 100%. I support that. But not just AIPAC. Every group, the CCP, the Muslim Brotherhood, the NGOs, military industrial complex, all of them. But these one-trick ponies have an agenda. They want to create a vacuum of power in order to plug in their ideology, whether it be the CCP or the Muslim Brotherhood. The Misfit Patriot, a reminder. Massey F 3 women in the time it took a gallon of milk to go bad after his wife died. That's brutal, but damn, it's still the truth. Erica is honoring Charlie by raising their kids and running the largest conservative get out the vote organization in America he started. Now, this one pisses me off. And I don't care if you're one of my friends or even an audience member. If you guys were going after Erica, oh, she came out to fireworks in the funeral, which is something that TPUSA did. Oh, she went and she gave JD Vance a hug. Oh, you guys, and when I say you, I'm being generalized. I'm speaking specifically to the people watching or listening to this show that reposted that content, commented about that stuff, or supported people saying that stuff, to include my friends. They were retarded and stupid too. You guys went and hammered this woman for that. And if you haven't hammered Thomas Massey for doing exponentially worse, you are a hypocrite and you are the problem. If that offends you, you can leave. I said it from the beginning. Numbers are important in this industry, but they're not my motivator. I'm trying to win this war. And I ain't never going to do it by kissing your ass. If you're here, it's because we're on the team of truth. If you're here watching this podcast, it's because you want what I want. Sovereignty for our country. And being smart about it. We can talk trash to each other. If I'm wrong, you want to talk trash, we can talk trash. But I don't expect you to kiss my ass. I'm not going to kiss yours. We are fighters, we are warriors, and we need to support this president and this country. But again, we got to call out hypocrisy like this. And if you're like, damn, that was me, and you're not okay with it, good. Fix yourself. Don't get caught in that again. Don't let them propagandize you like that again. Learn to think for yourself. Learn to ask yourself, maybe this doesn't add up and I should hold off or rethink this. Let's keep pushing on. I put the level of cope from the Thomas Massey simps is absolutely hilarious. LOL. And Lila was here. Put grifter emotional support group in session, and let me do open image in new tab because this is just great. As you can see, all the anti-Trump, anti-MAGA retards all in one place. I told you so. I told you so. Then it brings us to the last part of the Massey segment, and then we'll carry on. Told you that was going to be a long one. It was going to be annoying, but it had to be done. Former Congresswoman MTG. Everyone should respect this decision by Thomas Massey. He has given enough. His family has given enough. We both have. It's up to the American people. It's your country, and you can't expect only a few of us to sacrifice ourselves. Step up. Now I'm going to address that. But what is she talking about? Let's click on this post. Thomas Massey on May 22nd puts, there's quite an all-out war for the future of our country. Let us not misdirect our precious resources. I do not believe I lost due to fraudulent votes, mail-in ballots, hacking, or mistabulated results. I respect those who want to make sure, but I won't be requesting a recount. So Massey's saying I didn't lose to fraud. Why is that important? Let's go back to this crying, the crying space. I think the election was rigged. Prove me wrong. Their own daddy proved them wrong. Like, it's fucking poetic. It is poetic. Shout out Q Patriot Angel for gifting a subscription to the audience. Thank you very much for helping those out. Again, prove me wrong. It's their cult leader comes out and says it didn't happen. And I just thought that was a fantastic way to end that segment. So we'll do our last ad here as we finish the show. The next part, I think we'll be done. We're actually doing pretty good. We're at an hour and 45 minutes, and I think we'll be done in about 30, maybe a little less. And so Neutronic Labs, you're going to see this QR code. Let me go full screen with me to make it a little easier for you guys. And actually, we're done with the Massey segment. So let's end this poll real quick. Stop the poll. And we saw the final results. And so we can pull that off the screen. So now let's get our ad on here. You'll see that QR code pop up on the screen. Over to my left, Neutronics, free IGF-1 Plus Platinum with the Man's Edge auto ship. And you got to do the auto ship. That saves you, I think, half or nearly half. And listen, I know Alpha stuff ain't cheap. It's not, but it's great. What are we talking about? Right here. Man's Edge. I use this bottle because this one's empty. So if I drop it and break it, because these are actual glass bottles right here. And this is what you'll get free when you order it. The IGF Plus, this is a 300,000 nanogram one. I am now using the gold bottle, which is the million one. And just so you guys can see the size of these damn things, so you guys realize these things are huge. So you're going to get a lot of that product. What are some of the things that are important about this? It's going to support your immune system. It's going to help you burn fat. It's going to help you do muscle building. It's going to help you do joint health. It's going to improve sleep. It's going to combat stress and cortisol. It's going to boost energy and libido. I'm going to keep this a very professional show, but I will tell you, ladies, they make the female version for you as well on that. Anita the Deep says, not for females. It is. This one's the guy one, but they on the site, they do have the female one, and the same deals apply. For you folks out there that want to navigating this, trying to be professional, that want to have that fantastic romance in your life, you definitely want to get yourself some of this stuff. But here's the other part, and this is the part that has just been phenomenal in my personal experience. The recovery time when you do go to the gym is great. But again, this is not just for if you want to go to the gym. This is healthy stuff for you folks. This is organic stuff that, as Ron Oliver said, God's pharmacy. But I'm telling you, these bad boys right here, I should still measure them. I usually know where my peak is in the size of my muscles, and they've been growing bigger. And this is the new thing that I increased it to my regimen. So again, if you guys want to give this stuff a try, money back guarantee. No strings attached. No, well, I called and nobody answered. No, but you're going to want to keep this stuff because it's that great of quality. So do me a favor, go to neutronicslabs.com/alpha for 50% off with the auto ship and a platinum bottle of the IGF-1 completely free of charge. Plus, you'll get an extra 10% off when you use code ALPHA. And for those of you watching on YouTube or the other platforms, you want to use code ALPHA IGF. So make sure you use that one. But if you're watching on Rumble, you want to use code ALPHA. Again, that link will be in the description for you guys that are watching right here on Rumble. This stuff is absolutely solid. There's a reason that I've put my name behind it. So with that, folks, I hope you do try it out. If you're watching the replay, that link will be down in the description for you. And let's get back into the show. There we go. And let me just set myself up there. And now we get into the final part. We're bringing this in for a landing, folks. We're bringing this in for a landing. Shadow of Ezra puts out Elon Musk's baby mama, Ashley Sinclair, is accusing Elon Musk of rigging the 2024 election using lasers, satellites, and space technology. This is the long clip. It's a little over 4 minutes. But I'm going to let you listen to this. And then I'm going to remind you of something that I told you guys years ago. Take a listen.
And then October rolls around. And in October, Elon tells me that he is ready to release his, in his words, anomaly in the Matrix. And I am like, oh, like, who's that? And he says that he has 10,000 lasers in space, referring to his satellites. I say, because I am like rather uncomfortable and I know the gravity of what he's trying to tell me right now, I say, wow, finally a focus on the Jewish vote. He keeps going and he says, you know, this is not a piece that they'll see on the chessboard. And I straight up tell him, I say, I would ask more, but I really don't want to be deposed. To which he says, very wise. Shortly after that, you know, he's involved with America PAC and all of this other stuff, and he's sending me some internal data from America PAC, real-time Delta vote metrics. And I am just like, how the fuck do you have this sort of data? You don't get this from door knocking, because that was one of my first jobs in politics was in campaigns and cleaning up this bad data from door knocking, because the vendors that America PAC is using at this point is a vendor that hires Craigslist crackheads for door knocking, and I wish I was exaggerating there, but I'm not. I know, like, I have caused harm with my rhetoric. However, I never like sought out to cause harm. Like, there were parts of me that really wanted like the best for the country, for America, for democracy. And one thing is I have always hated big tech. So then to have arguably the most powerful man in the world who is sending me things about, you know, using his space technology in the election. I should also say that I have all of this backed up with many people with explicit instructions should anything happen to me, okay? But this was something that I was internally wrestling with while publicly not really showing that I was having any of these internal ethical conflicts with myself regarding this information. And then on election night itself, Elon, you know, left Mar-a-Lago early. I was at Mar-a-Lago, and he told me over text, he's like, yeah, I knew hours ago that Trump won. My team has the best real-time data anywhere. First of all, how the fuck do you have real-time data on elections? How do you have real-time data? I could not understand that. I don't know that I ever will. I saw some shit, guys. Like, I saw some shit, and I'm fighting really hard to keep my voice because I saw shit that impacts everyone. And if I was self-interested, I have been offered the self-interested deal to shut up and not talk about anything. But what I can tell you is I've not been offered certain deals just because I know that he's weird, okay? I saw some shit.
I saw some shit. I just read some shit. And I'm going to read it out loud. Miss Rhea Freedom Fighter. God, I shouldn't read this, but I'm going to because it's too good. Miss Rhea Freedom Fighter, longtime OG here on the AlphaWarrior Show, says she's eating a bag of dicks. God, you guys are You guys are crazy. Why is this important? Well, this is why it's important, because timing matters. This post is from February 26, 2025. And let's read this to you. Nothing to see here. Just the Mossad operation on Elon, Doge, and the narrative control of information. And for everyone who's about to get mad, and I love that your ignorance allows you to get mad, Mike Benz has already publicly admitted to running a psychological operation targeting MAGA between 2016 and 2018. The only difference, he doesn't call it a psyop. He calls it a Jewish project. Want the receipts? Just ask. I already did a thread on it, and I tagged them both. Remember how mad y'all got when I told you that this isn't behavior of someone who actually supports MAGA and Trump? Maybe you should have listened back then. And who is that she's with? Well, that would be Harry Sisson. Harry Sisson hates Trump, hates MAGA, hates America first. And who do we see there? This is from 2023. Mike Benz and Ashley Sinclair. I mean, maybe it's just a coincidence. Or maybe, just maybe, she was sent to take down Elon and be a honeypot. But we see, here it comes again. So let's keep pushing on to the next topic. Let's bring us to a little Candace. Tiffany Savage, Patriot Savvy. If you guys haven't picked up her book on winning elections, it's a great one. It's on Amazon. Very, very underpriced. She should have listed it 4 times what she sold it for. But go support her, get that book. Says, I could watch this on loop. Real Candace Owens looks wrecked. About time someone punches back on her while on her show. And of course, I'm going to let you guys enjoy this.
When you're wrong or you've been misguided.
So, Victor, just so you know, you're on my show. I'm not on your.
Candace, you seem to be a little afraid of truth. And what I once thought was a solid show years ago, you've turned this into a TMZ, and worse than TMZ, it's like a Temu version of it. Regarding my Marine Corps time, this is one of the most flagrant misnomers that you have that really made us go, I don't think they're very professional in their investigations. You claimed, without a doubt, that I only served 2 years in the Marine Corps. Do you stand by that?
That was what we could find. I'm happy to edit that if you'd like to give us an updated answer.
Well,
was
it's not
it
just
2 years?
so much edit. It was 3 years, and it was on the DD-214. So
Okay,
you
3 years.
spread misinformation with great confidence and said, what was he doing? Which shows a lack of professionalism that y'all can't even read a DD-214. So, you know what? I'd appreciate an apology from you. Will you offer me an apology for that?
I think this was just sort of a clerical error that could just have been
It's not
resolved
clerical.
right here. Like I said, you could come on the show and we could talk about your biography. So
Well, now
I don't
you know
think
the
you're
truth.
owed some emotional apology. It was
It's
just
not
we
emotional.
thought it was 2 years. You're
You've
saying it's 3.
misrepresented my Marine Corps time. I would appreciate an apology.
I'm not going to apologize to you for that. I think
Thank
you're being
you.
a
Thank
little
you.
bit over the top.
I'm a truth
I'm just
seeker,
not I'm not that
and
individual.
for some-
Let's move on. Let's talk about your talk about your stepfather. You also claimed that you killed a man at the age of 7 because he instructed you to do that and buried him in the backyard. Your family disputes that neighborhood. They also noted that there are no news stories that would even back up that a man was missing. It's quite a rural community, Martinville, Mississippi. If someone went missing, that might have been noticed.
What was the name of
Can
the
you give us
town?
the name of the person that you said that you walked in and told the police that you murdered however many years ago because your father forced you to?
What was the name of the town you just mentioned? That was
Is this
rural?
Martinville, Mississippi?
No, it's not.
Where did you didn't grow up in Martinville, Mississippi?
No, I did not.
It's just, I mean, some stuff is just beautiful. This is like a Temu TMZ. It's like, I don't know if it's just so funny because I'm so tired. But Temu TMZ, come on. That is just, I'm glad he said it, right? I'm glad. But here's the point. Aside from it being absolutely hilarious, it's someone showing how inaccurate she is. It's hers. He's saying it's on my DD214. How'd you fuck that up? Well, it's a clerical error. And why is that important? Because as we progress towards midterms and you see her start to get called out more and more and more, that's what she's going to say. No, it's been taken out of context. Oh, no, it was a clerical error. Oh, it's not. This woman's done, folks. She is cooked when it comes to podcasting. She probably made what? I think the number I keep hearing, I don't know how accurate it is, so look it up yourself. But I think she's made over 60 million running the Charlie Kirk narrative. I mean, that's just, if that's true, that is just sad. But we're not done. Then we get to this part. Hunter Biden admits that the laptop was real in Candace Owens' interview. My entire digital footprint stolen from me. Every text message, every picture.
And what happened to me, and I really mean this, is that the exposure, not piecemeal, but the total exposure, my entire digital footprint stolen from me, a 20-year digital footprint, every text message, every picture, all of the things that that you would be ashamed of became front page news for 4 years, 5 years, beginning in 2019. And it forced me into a choice. And the choice was, do I get out of bed and live, or do I die? And it became that much of a dichotomy. And I chose to live.
I would like to see what the child victims feel about a choice to live and what they were subjected to. Let me just get into the next clip here, because this already got me pissed off.
I mean, whether it's Butler or Charlie or
Butler makes no sense.
These things that it's just not right. And I mean, it's so glaringly not right. It's almost as if they're just saying,
F
like,
you.
F you.
They're not even
I don't
trying.
care.
We don't even get good psyops anymore. And that's what I keep saying. I'm like, it's so disrespectful that we're not even getting good psyops anymore. Like we're supposed to believe he survived 4 assassination attempts, the first president that's ever survived 4 assassination attempts.
Yeah.
They lie to us about things, they make a big deal, and then they make it want to, it's going to go away. They're going to keep pretending and telling us that this is a totally normal grieving widow. Okay. No one's buying that. Like that something's just not right here. Everyone can see that this is not how you would react to your husband being shot. And this sort of just, I'm fine. And 2 weeks later, I fully accept the narrative. I have no interest in anything else. It's over. Let's close it. I forgive him. Let's move on. You're asking us to abandon our common sense and our humanity is what you're asking us to do. And that kind of seems like where we're at. Like they're insisting on this. And I'm going, where is this going to go? Because we're not doing the thing they want us to do. Like they're just constantly giving us slop all the time. I mean, even the recent White House Correspondents' Dinner, there was so much theater to it after, so much theater. And now it's kind of, okay, Secret Service maybe shot each other and we're just going to kind of quietly move on. But Trump needs a ballroom. Like that's a normal reaction. Hey, there's a shooting duck. Hey, well, we better get that ballroom.
And by the way, it's going to cost $1 billion now. And by the way, it's not from donors. And by the way, we're going to do it. Like it's just the constant. Like talk about gaslighting.
This has been just this, and we're not even. Are we even a year into Trump's second term?
We're a little over a year.
A little over a year in the second term, and I don't think there's just been. I'm like, how are we going?
The fact that you don't even know if you're a year into his term tells you what you need to know. The second part is the Trump ballroom is absolutely being paid by Trump and donors. Now, if you're talking about what's under the ballroom, that's different because that is a government building. But the point here that I want to make is, again, the lies. That the White House Correspondents' Dinner was theater. And some of my friends have pushed this because they're retarded. Again, if you've watched my show and you've seen my breakdown of the actual CCTV footage, not the AI version, it's absolutely accurate. There's nothing theater about it. But again, there are so many people that have gone full retard and everything's fake and gay. That's the same excuse of the actual Q-tards that tell everybody just to sit on the couch that everything's done. These are the extremes of both. That everything, and I want to go there because we'll be sidetracked and we'll go off on a tangent. But again, this is the rhetoric that's being pushed by people that are nefarious, but then it's adopted by people that are just lacking common sense. It is what it is. And whoever gets offended, but it's the truth. Eric Daugherty puts, to shift gears now. Just now, Trump DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen has arrived at Mexico's National Palace to meet with authorities on U.S. cooperation. Time for President Sheinbaum to stop letting the cartels control her and let President Trump, the Pentagon, and Mullen unleash on the cartels. Trump could quash the cartels in days if Sheinbaum stepped up and gave the green light. This was 5 days ago on the 21st. Why is this important? Because it's putting Sheinbaum in a very tough position. If she allows it, she's cooked by the deep state. If she doesn't allow it, then she's cooked by Trump when everybody sees that she's protecting the cartels. And again, this man means business going out there. And again, we saw what went down with the cartels out of Puerto Rico. Why is this important? Because before you take down the big people that all you guys want, including myself, you got to get rid of the worker bees. You got to get rid of the rank and file. And that's who the cartels represent. The cartels are who protect these corrupt politicians. When the people know that they don't have to be afraid of the cartels anymore, they will take back their governments. When militaries have to realize that they don't have to fear the cartels no more, they will take back their governments. That is how significant this move is that President Trump is doing with the Sovereign Alliance. Let's shift gears on this one now. Trump is rage baiting Podcanistan, and I think Podcanistan is one of the greatest terms that I've heard in a while. Considers running for Prime Minister of Israel after his term. I did my best to improve the quality here, so hopefully it plays out nice, but it was pretty low, so you might want to turn up your volume for this one.
Right in Israel, in my opinion. I'm right now at 99% in Israel. I could run for Prime Minister, so maybe after I do this, I'll go to Israel, run for Prime Minister. I had a poll this morning, I'm 99%, so that's good. But no, he's a wartime Prime Minister, and I just don't think they treat him well.
Mr. President, what do you do?
I think they have a president over there that treats him very poorly.
You're on the same page with them on
He's literally coming after the Massey Candace Simps. What I've done here, I'll go run for Prime Minister of Israel. Or maybe he's just dropping a little hint of a regime change in Israel that's unfolding right now. I don't know. Where have you guys heard that before? Then it brings us to Bricks News. Bricks News says, just in, President Trump says Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu will do whatever I want him to do. Again, he is trolling the shit out of the deep state that has tried to weaponize this against them. Which takes us to what a disappointment this one ended up being. The SGT report. I used to like to follow this guy, but just like many others, he went full retard. The coup was a success, and now your MAGA president is joking, or is he, about becoming Israel's next prime minister? Rothschilds won. Great job, trust the plan, cult. These are the people that don't know shit about operations. These are the people that capitalized off the Q movement. These are the people that capitalized off the initial momentum, the beginning of Trump's presidency, because it was popular and because everybody wanted something new, and they exploited it and they made their money off of it. And then the second they saw the trend changing towards something that looked profitable, like the Israel and this conversation, they shift gears. Trust the plan, cult. SGT, come on my show, challenge you. Let's see what you know about what the Trust the Plan is. Do you know what Trust the Plan is? You're calling it a cult. So come on my show, open invitation. It'll be live. You're going to make fun of something you don't know what it is? Because by you making this comment, you're telling me that you don't know what it is. Some people just go full retard, and SGT went full retard on this post. Sad, disappointing. Let's shift gears. Actually, we got one more, and then we'll shift gears here. Justin, yikes, president of Qatar. I told you this was the proper positioning for this. President of Qatar, a nation democracy party, says that they had been investigating Tucker and found that he may be acting as an agent of the Qatari government and have possible ties to the bin Laden family. If true, this may be the reason why Tucker said he was being investigated. Insane. Again, let's take a listen to this.
Carson, it's been very obvious that he is actually a pro-Qatar puppet. We've been investigating him for the past few months, and I'm very certain that very soon the outcomes are going to come, because we've been following money and following what was exactly happening. When he came to Qatar promoting Doha, he was living in an area that actually Osama bin Laden's son was living at, the son of Al-Qaeda leader who actually slaughtered 3,000 Americans.
I would be totally comfortable sharing condolences with Osama bin Laden's family. If somebody dies, it's okay to say I'm sorry to his family.
And then all of a sudden, by the way, he shifted as well. He's adopting now the other scenario that the Jews was behind 9/11.
All of his views suddenly completely flipped 180. They changed so fast and became radically pro-Islam in the last year.
So, if it turns out that it's true, that is going to be a pretty big deal. But I do want to make sure that Melissa Tate did put in here and that you guys acknowledge it, so it's not taken out of context. She says, if true, this may be the reason why Tucker said that he was being investigated by the DOJ. So we will see. So now to move into some of the probably more fun stuff tonight. The Rubber Duck puts, if you believe you understand the significance of this clip, post what you think in the comments. And so let me just rewind it and just hit play on this real quick so you guys can see it. And you guys can't hear, but it's just the wind in the background. But you got Ronald McDonald with some green shoes. And so then let's move into part 2 of this. And the Justice comment says, the ball called activation word Ronald McDonald. What do you mean by that? Well, let's take a listen.
Ronald?
Now, is it just a Nike shoe commercial? You saw Call the Ball. You saw the green shoes. Now, activation word Ronald McDonald. Well, where does that come into play? I wanted to show this one first so you could see the style of the way this film was created, because now we're going to get into MJ's post right here. McDonald shares a creepy video of Ronald McDonald with the caption, Ronald, notice the color of his shoes. Now, to put this next video into context, Elon Musk on November 4th, 2024, shared this video. We're at the 37-second mark. Q comes into focus and a voice says, activation word, Ronald McDonald. So now let me play this video for you.
Put on Mr. Patriots. The activation word, Ronald McDonald.
We will drive out the globalists.
Patriots go.
We will cast out the communists. America will start winning again. Winning like never before. We will bring back our jobs. We will bring back our borders. And we will bring back our dreams.
So, I was trying to get you guys' attention because I know I'm muted in those videos to listen. But this is the 37-second mark, 37-second mark. And you see Patriots, where the O is a Q. Where have you seen that before? Right? And then right here, well, you can't hear it because I don't have the volume up, but this is where you hear the, let me do it. right at activation word Ronald McDonald. But you see the way you get the flickering video. You have the AUX auxiliary thing that shows in there. And I'm glad that some of you guys heard it because I'm over here playing it again. I forgot you guys can't hear this video when I have it in that format. But again, you heard during the video of what it said. So I'm very curious, folks. What do you think is being implied here? Is this go for green? I've seen some of you putting, Soylent Green. I've seen a bunch of interesting takes. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Again, I'm going to be reviewing this, all the different platforms tomorrow, but I'll actually be looking for this specific answers over the next few days. But activation word, Ronald McDonald. And then the film's done in the same format, like the graphics, right? What would you call it? The filter graphics, in the same. So it's letting us know these aren't separate things. They're one and the same. And I think that's very, very important. So again, I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on that. And while I get your thoughts on that, here are some of the things that some of the people have shared. Yehi Orr, wanted to make sure I got his name right, points to this, right? Ronald. And then Morcho says, he's back. And then McDonald's replies, he never left, which they then go and make the connection here. And this is Q Post 2677. We never left. It's time to return publicly. Are we going to see some things go active on the boards? Or is it going to be something that's actual public, not just coming back on the boards, but actually, are we going to learn of a legitimate Q team? I don't know. I don't think so. I wouldn't say that. I think that's too risky for what, the net benefit can come from. But then again, if this correlation is correct, putting these two together here, it is very interesting. And then we have, I thought we had another one from there. But again, I'd like to know what you guys think as far as your interpretation of this. Again, I've seen some really good ones. This one from Yehi is one of the better ones that I've seen. But if you got some stuff, you got some posts, put them down there. I'll take a look at it. And then if I end up showing it on the show, I'll give you some credit like I do other people. But let's get into some other fun stuff. If you watched DEFCON tonight, you saw us mention this. The Justice Cometh put it out there. A lot of people did, but I saw his. Q isn't real, huh? And he sows the truth social posts. Stay with me, deplorables. You'll love how this movie ends. And of course, you look at post 4095, May 3rd, and it's stay with me, deplorables. You'll love how this movie ends. Q plus. I mean, folks, listen, if you want to say that it's still a coincidence and it's fake, have at it. I don't know how much more you need to see to convince you. Then we get to this one. Dan Scavino post. This is on May 20th. So 6 days for me still. I'm still 11:29 over here on the West Coast. He says, you'll fly into gale force winds, smash into 50-foot waves, storm into the floods of fire and shrapnel, and swim through water so cold that it will snap a ship in half. There's nothing, absolutely nothing that a Coast Guard's guardsman cannot do. POTUS. Now, is that definitely have context to what he's doing there, speaking to the Coast Guard? Of course. But is he also talking about a storm that's coming, given the comms that we're seeing? I mean, damn, it's hard to say that this one is merely a coincidence. If the absence of all these other comms was not there, I would probably say, yeah, maybe we're reaching for this one. But given how clear that these comms have been, listen, folks, I think something's definitely cooking, and especially when we get into some of the other ones. Dan Scavino, once again, here we are in the Oval Office. President Trump is righting another wrong. We are proudly implementing President Trump's agenda every single day and delivering to the American people. And again, the golden age, folks. The golden age. I absolutely love that. And then we have this one. I'll play this video. It's 17 seconds. I'm probably going to get a strike on this, but it's okay. We'll fix it. This song is has a lot of meaning to me. So when it showed in this video, it definitely got my attention. Let's Listen to this clip here that happens to be 17 seconds. That's a great song. But Scavino posted a 17-second video, folks. Got to be stealth. And 17 seconds. I mean, come on, right? Now I think they just want to have fun with us. And then you have Scavino posting this one. This one's 19 seconds. So this is on the 22nd. You know, we already got one with that one. Might as well play this one. You guys are going to recognize this sound. Remember the Ronald McDonald video. Remember Q, activation code. Remember the other posts. Time to go publicly. We never left. Remember all that stuff. And then Scavino, after he posts a 17-second video of a stealth bomber, then plays a video of this and listen to what song it is. And as Julie Donut says, the Great Awakening, none shall sleep. What a time to be alive. Indeed it is. And then Vincent Fushka. Let me make this a little bigger. And my apologies. There you guys go. Vincent Fushka puts, "Oh, CIA, this wasn't the game you were supposed to play. Shame, shame. We know your names." I know some think that Vincent Fushka is not so important. Some people think that, yeah, here's the thing. There's something about Vincent that just catches my attention. And if you guys remember, on the first public assassination attempt of President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, Vincent was seated directly behind Trump in the crowd. And when everybody panicked, he was the one that was just very chill and relaxed. And that immediately caught my attention. I talked about that like immediately upon it all happening. And so there's just something interesting here about that man. And I don't get no bad vibes. I get really good, solid vibes. And this statement here, "Oh, CIA, this wasn't the game you were supposed to play. Shame, shame. We know your names." I love that. Ezra Cohen puts, "Everyone needs to calm down. Trump is our man in the arena." And he's talking about Trump's post here. And this is from May 24th. "One of the worst deals ever made by our country was the Iran nuclear deal, put forth and signed into existence by Barack Hussein Obama and the rank amateurs of the Obama administration. It was a direct path to Iran developing a nuclear weapon. Not so with the transaction currently being negotiated with Iran by the Trump administration. The exact opposite, in fact. The negotiations are proceeding in an orderly and constructive manner, and I have informed my representatives not to rush into a deal in that time is on our side. The blockade will remain in full force and effect until agreements is reached, certified, and signed. Both sides must take their time and get it right. There can be no mistakes. Our relationship with Iran is becoming a much more professional and productive one. They must understand, however, that they cannot develop or procure any nuclear weapon or bomb. I would like to thank, thus far, all of the countries of the Middle East for their support and cooperation, which will be further enhanced and strengthened by the joining the nations of the historic Abraham Accords. And who knows, perhaps the Islamic Republic of Iran would like to join as well. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump." And if you remember, you heard it on DEFCON First with me and Josh when we said you are ultimately going to see Iran, Russia, and China become part of the ministry for peace. Like it's going to happen, folks. And this is how you're going to bring stabilization into that area. You know, Putin already said, "Hey, we can use some of the sanction money as our enrollment fee that everybody has to pay." I'm totally down for it. Board of Peace, not Ministry of Peace. My apologies there. But you guys get what I'm trying to say. It's late. We're all tired. And then again, to wrap up this section, and then we're going to get into some of the wild stuff. And then I'll share you guys. There's these next ones. If you're tired, keep one eye open. You're going to like the way this ends. Eric Dougherty puts, "Just now, President Trump has canceled his rare Camp David trip tomorrow Instead, we'll convene the entire cabinet at the White House. Quote, based on the possible bad weather conditions tomorrow, we will be having our cabinet meeting in the White House, and we'll be postponing the cabinet trip to Camp David. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Trump never stops working. If you watched DEFCON tonight, you saw us talk about weather actually isn't going to be that bad tomorrow. So what was this all about? You saw all social media, alt media, the intelligence agencies, everybody was talking about Trump's getting, because remember, Trump doesn't really go to Camp David. He's not the guy that does that. It's very rare when Trump actually goes to Camp David. And here he was going to get the entire cabinet to go over there. And everybody was talking about it, which what does that do? We call it tickling the wire when you're doing surveillance, right? You put something out that's going to generate conversation, and they did it. And Trump was able, in my suspicion, my speculation here, when he did that and all these people started to chatter on their lives, whether it was them using the, video game chat rooms or whatever the case may be, he put out the bait, they bought it. And when Trump got the information he needed, maybe to avert some type of, maybe an assassination, maybe something else, he said, well, we're not going over there. Yeah, weather, even though, again, some slight rain and showers, some drizzle tomorrow. He's actually keeping and bringing everybody to the White House to have that meeting. Absolutely think that was a leak operation, 100%. And they did it successfully. And now as we close out the show, folks, UFOs and aliens, what? Jesse Waters, whoa. Researchers say dozens of crashed UFOs have been recovered with 4 different alien species on board. 2 arms, 2 legs, long tails like a lizard, 7 feet tall. Sources are too scared to talk, saying an interview could forfeit their life. This one was from about 6 days ago. Let's take a listen. Well, let me make sure I play the right one. I won't play the wrong one. Hold on. Okay, this is the right one. Take a listen, folks.
We are not alone. The Pentagon released the UFO files a few weeks back, and we just found out over 1 billion people have visited the site. 1 billion. It's got to be a record. The War Department says more files will be released soon. UFO experts and top researchers have been investigating aliens for years. Their sources say dozens of crashed UFOs have been recovered, and what they found inside, shocking.
And do people think that there's one type of non-human intelligence that's visiting the Earth, or is there many, many types?
People who have been involved in recoveries have said
there are at least 4 separate types. Now, I have not had direct access to that, but I believe the people who I talk to.
4 different types of life.
4 different types of life.
4 different species of aliens. Another scientist called them Greys, Nordics, Insectoids, and Reptilians. All of them have 2 arms and 2 legs, just like us. Experts speculate the reptilians are scaly with long tails, like a lizard. Insectoids look like a praying mantis. The Greys look like your classic movie alien, and the Nordics look like a regular Swedish guy, but 7 feet tall. We haven't seen the evidence, but Pete Hegseth says more evidence is coming, and there are a lot of believers in Congress.
I have seen evidence in a skiff that leads me to believe there are things we cannot explain, and I have observed things that are of non-human origin and creation. That's my opinion.
Releasing the files isn't easy. They've been hidden for years, and a lot of people want to keep it that way.
The problem we have right now is the deep state's fighting the president on release, and he kept his word, and I suspect some of our not so friendly comrades and some of our alphabet agencies are slow walking a lot of the information. It's about power, it's about control, and that's kind of what runs Washington.
So why is our own government fighting so hard to keep these secret? Well, 12 scientists have either gone missing or died. Now, we don't know if that's related, but people are scared to talk.
one I thought was going to do an interview, and then a couple days before sent me a message saying, after further consideration and long talks with my wife, I decided I'd be forfeiting my life if I participated in your interview. And I thought that was like very unsettling message to get, obviously, but also very specific word choice, you know, forfeiting my life.
You mean, is it a distraction? It could be. Is this kind of like Operation Warp Speed, where Trump knows that they were going to use something like Project Blue Beam, and he's forcing it to deploy early so it doesn't have the effect that it's supposed to when they wanted to deploy it? Or is it just the truth? And we're going to realize some stuff that's been hidden from us, and we're going to find out that we have an extraterrestrial government. General Flynn's words in his interview with Josh a long time ago, if you guys remember that one. Nonetheless, it's pretty interesting, which brings us to Jesse Waters' next post, and this is from earlier today. Holy smokes, the latest UFO document dump is insane. UFOs flying over military bases. A UFO shot down over Lake Huron. Orange orbs witnessed by intel officers. Insiders confess we may not be alone. This is trippy cool, actually.
We're going back to the moon.
America is returning to the moon. We are working alongside our many international and commercial partners to leverage the incredible capabilities from commercial industry to build a moon base. We are leveraging the NASA playbook from the 1960s, figuring out what works and what doesn't in this epic science of survival, because the moon base is as beautiful as it is hostile.
Today, NASA released their plans for the moon base. They want to start building it by 2030 and move astronauts in a few years later. Top brass says the base will stretch hundreds of miles. It'll be a place where lunar travelers can live, do research, and eventually blast off to Mars. NASA says the mission will happen like this. We're debuting Moonfall. It's a swarm of drones that'll map out the surface because, as we know in real estate, it's about location, location, location. Then rovers and cargo start coming, and, you know, the move-in company. Then Americans will start living there permanently. But while NASA's exploring space, we're still trying to figure out what's happening here on Earth. Trump dropped a fresh batch of UFO files with dozens of videos. Here's a U.S. fighter jet shooting down a UFO over Lake Huron in Michigan. That's back in 2023. And check this one out. The military described this flying saucer as pulsating over water just in 2024. And CENTCOM saw this figure flying past one of their posts in 2020. Kind of looks like a body. I don't know. Even a senior intelligence officer saw things he couldn't explain. Last year, when he was flying a military helicopter, he claims he saw orange orbs flaring up for minutes and then landing. The officer was left speechless. Now, we have more questions than answers, but more files are on the way, unless the deep state gets to them first.
President Trump is open-minded to it all. He's not resisting it.
Very. He's about transparency. President Trump has been about, I had the guy sitting right here in this chair when I talked to him about it on the phone. And he said, what do you think it is? I said, Mr. President, I really honestly don't know the answer to that. I said, but I think we need to know. And I think you're the president to do it. And he is. I mean, if they don't kill him first, he's going to turn the tables on this thing.
Now, what are they hiding? The government's lied to us for decades about pretty much everything. JFK, the Gulf of Tonkin, COVID, Russia. When we ask questions, they call us conspiracy theorists, and then they cover up their little tracks. But the truth is out there. Where have I heard that before? And we're going to find it.
I'm beginning to think it's likely that the president is going to reveal that we are not alone, that there are non-human intelligences engaging with this planet.
What do you guys think? Do you think that this is a full psyop? Do you think that we're not alone? Do you think there's aliens? Do you think that they walk among us? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, don't be shy, folks. Like, put it out there. If you're unsure, say you're unsure. If you're confident, definitely put it out there. But I'll tell you what, we're all going to find out pretty soon. As we wrap up this show, let's get into some even more very weird, interesting stuff. Bringing it back to the Justice Cometh. What is this? This was just crazy to me, folks. Cheeto Sanford puts out, what is happening? I was going through some old boxes for a garage sale. What's up with these strange pictures? Did Mangione jump timelines? Interesting to read some of the same articles, more pics and comments, probably just another coincidence. And if you look right here, RFK's condition critical. And when you look here, Look at the one here in the bottom right. I mean, damn, that's just a pretty look at. There's it close up zoom. I mean, listen, things that make you go, right? I mean, I don't know. Again, what do you guys think? That's definitely one that got my attention. Let's go to the next one. Back to the rubber duck. Hello, Greenland. Donald Trump post on Truth. This is a couple days ago. Hello, Greenland. Remember, folks, Greenland on the north, and remember, Argentina and Chile on the south. Extremely important parts of the land that we're going to be talking about before this presidency is over. But again, if Trump's saying hello, Greenland, that conversation is not done. And then, of course, MJ Truth says, boom, Trump keeps telling everyone he's going to serve one more term in office for a reason. LOL. Let's take a listen to this. And after this, we are done. We'll do Rumble rants and super chats. I'll give you my final thoughts and we will call it a night. We did pretty good on time. I'm happy. So let's take a listen.
With Finland, they make icebreakers. They make the best icebreakers. We're going to learn everything we can learn. We're going to shortly make them ourselves. But we're making right now, currently under construction, we have 11 beautiful. And I said, come on, when's the first one coming? They said, in 28. I said, I'm going to be here in 28. Maybe I'll be here in 32, too. I don't know. Maybe I will. But I'm going to be here in 28. And I'll tell you, I said, that's great because I'm going to be there at the dedication. They have been trying to get icebreakers for years and years. And no
Is he trolling? Is he serious? We're going to find out. I'll tell you what, I'd vote for him in 2028. I'd vote for him in 2032. As a matter of fact, put a crown on that dude, sit him on a throne, and let's just go with a full-blown king. That's because why not, right? All right, folks, let's bring this off the screen, and we're going to get into Rumble rants. Let me bring this up now. And then we'll read the super chats because we had some super chats that came in as well. Yeah, I want to make sure that I show you guys my appreciation. So let's zoom in on this so you guys can see it. And like Kim K, we'll start from the bottom, and now we're her. $10 coming in from Lisa 888. Dude, you're an animal with back-to-back shows. I'm going to try to stay awake, but probably will turn into a pumpkin before the end. Lisa, let us know if you made it all the way through the end. If not, we'll catch you on the replay. And thank you for supporting this show. $5 coming in from Rotten Dog, tipped via the Rumble wallet. And I saw that. That is so cool. I love when you guys use the Rumble wallet. Rotten Dog, thank you for that very much. Again, Cybermark is now a monthly supporter. Welcome to the Warrior family, Cybermark. And Annie, Get Your Gun is now a monthly supporter. Thank you, Annie, for becoming part of the family. Dollar for dollar, Rory McGrill 78. I got friends in Kentucky. I live in Pennsylvania, so this matters to me personally. I reached out to my Pennsatucky friends, and they're not sure about the new guy, but definitely don't like Massey. But I haven't seen anything bad about Ed. I like the background that he comes from. I like the fact that he's a farmer and out there, but I like more than anything the fact that he's not going to be controlled opposition and stopping Trump from doing his agenda. I need him to vote yes on the things that Trump's doing. That's what we need. This is not normal government. This is not normal politics. We gave Trump a mandate. Hopefully after midterms, he'll have a super majority, and we're just going to thrash the deep state. So hopefully we'll see some more stuff from Ed that'll make us all feel a little bit more comfortable, Rory. And the final one on Rumble from Q Patriot Angel, gifted 1 subscription. And thank you for doing that and helping out our Rumble family. And let's go over here to the super chats and throw this one on the screen right here. This comes from Terry Oliver, 7901. Would you consider voting for Louis Herms? I got to study some more on him. One of the things that I would say out of the gate that definitely gives me a lot of reservation is at last I checked, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, Terry, but no party affiliation. And that I have issue with that. And reason being is we're not running on principles right now. These elections we absolutely have to vote in, but we have to understand that these elections have been compromised. And why am I telling everybody you vote R completely down ballot? Because that's what we're doing. We are trying to stack the numbers in favor of Trump. Now, once we secure our elections and we've made them fair and transparent, well, then I don't think you just vote for somebody because they have an R or they have a D. We vote for the best person. But right now, given the circumstances that we have to vote completely Republican down ballot to give Trump this supermajority that's needed. And so, that's kind of where I'm at. But like I said, I would definitely have to study more into him, Terry. So hopefully that provides you some insight to my position. And so with that, I do have a video that will be playing on the closeout for Memorial Day. So let me get this one in position for you. And in the meantime, give me 1 second, folks. There it is. All right, that's set for when I hit end. Here's one of the things you guys can do for me. We're 8 minutes to midnight here on the West Coast. So it's, getting close to 3 in the AM for you guys on the East Coast. And we still have almost 2,300 people on Rumble. We have nearly 500 on YouTube and another over 1,600 on the different X channels and Facebook channels that are out there. Thank you guys for supporting me, especially this late show right after Death Con. I love you guys for it. And so thank you. The other thing, this show is not controlled by anybody. There's no contract. So this show is completely funded by you guys, the ads that Rumble allows us to do, and my own sponsors and affiliates and partnerships. So if you're somebody that's in a position to do that and you want to help out people that support content like mine, go down in the description and the different shows that you're doing and go and shop and spend your dollars at these people that definitely help me out. And again, I appreciate it. And one of the things that you can do as well, whatever platform you're watching on, if you can subscribe and become a monthly supporter, I would definitely appreciate that. Don't worry, no matter what, the content's always going to be free. At Rumble, we have to do some premium content. But I think you guys have kind of caught, the Do You Remember series that I do. But the super important stuff, I never put it behind a paywall. So if you guys want to make life easier for me and you become a monthly subscriber, I would definitely appreciate that. My goal on Rumble is to hit 1,000 monthly subscribers. That way I don't really have to have any worries with the stuff that I do. But no matter what, we started off doing it for free. And if it comes down to doing it for free again, we will, because the mission is to save our country. And shout out to Rumble Rants coming in at the end, dollar for dollar from 2F17. Wish it was more. Love you, Alpha. You know what? A little bit from a lot of people makes a big difference, and you helped. So you don't have to wish it was more. Thank you. And $10 coming in from Alan S333. Great show, and thank you for that, Alan. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on the way out. I know Memorial Day was yesterday, but since we're doing Just Alpha today, I want to play this video anyways. And remember, there are a lot of vets that didn't make it to this year. I'm not asking you guys to shed tears for them, but just remember that they died for us to be able to have a good life. So do what you got to do to have a good life. Nothing changes if nothing changes. God bless. Good night. Semper Fi. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Smash the thumb, hit the heart, leave a comment on your way out. Till next time, take it easy.